Hello and welcome everyone. This is FIDE Women's Candidate Tournament Pool B, and we do have the final game in the classical segment where Tan Zhongyi and Alexandra Goryachkina are facing each other. If this game also turns out to be a draw, just like the three others, we're going to have tomorrow the tie breaks. Today we are your commentators, Grandmaster Arturs Neiksans and Women Grandmaster Keti Tsatsalashvili.
Hello, Keti. Nice again to be back for the game 4 and the final classical game between two semifinalists, Tan Zhongyi and Alexandra Goryachkina. Here you see, this is the tournament table, the matchup table so far. 3 draws. I mean, the first two maybe were a bit more fighting. Yesterday's game, Goryachkina was unable to set any real problems for the Chinese Grandmaster. Thus, here today, maybe we might see the end of the match, because the winner is going to face the winner of Pool A, Lei Ting Ji, and today, as you see, Tan Zhongyi has the white color and will try to capitalize on the one-move advantage.
That's right. Let's see what white pieces can bring Tan Zhongyi. Alexandra Goryachkina is already at the board, waiting for her opponent to arrive. The game will start in a few minutes. Tan Zhongyi should be around. As Arturs earlier mentioned, that there can be some kind of sanctions if you are late for the game. So let's now take a look at the highlights of yesterday and today as well. And we can be back with, hopefully, Tan Zhongyi on the board. And here we are, both players now ready to start the game. The chief arbiter is also out there. He is inviting the special guest to make the honorary first move from Tan Zhongyi, and he is going
D4. That's a good guess, really. So the guest is well informed that D4 might be actually the move, because this is the move that Tan Zhongyi has been playing so far in this candidates tournament. But of course, there still might be surprises. And today, this is again the second time when Tan Zhongyi has white color against Alexandra Goryachkina, and this time she probably is a little bit more prepared against Goryachkina's choice. So now the question is, are they going to repeat the so-called call-spec structure which we saw in the game number 2, or is going to be something else? What do you think, Keti?
I think Tan Zhongyi will bring something else. She's so well prepared. She always changes the opening for each game, especially in the classical. She did same at the rapid game. So I believe she will bring us the last weapon that she prepared for this tournament.
Yeah, because Tan Zhongyi was surprising constantly Goryachkina. Remember the first game, this Janovsky, your Queen's Gambit declined with A6, and then the second game she started as Bogo India, then she switched to D5 and pretty confidently equalized. And I haven't really seen it so often that Goryachkina is unable to even show any problems to her opponent with the white color, because yesterday Tan was equalizing pretty much easily, having a lot of time on the clock after they agreed on a draw.
That's right. And the hands have been shaked. The first moves just started, which we have right now on the board. This is 1d4, the move that we expected. Everybody expected. Goryachkina goes d5 as well.
All right. So C4. Now the question is Black gonna accept the pawn or play Queen's Gambit decline? No, it's again the Slav. And so far in the previous games, they have played the Slav defense quite a few times. Knight f3, knight f6. Now here white has number of choices. e3 is popular, knight c3 is popular, but in a couple of the previous games so far, the Chinese Grandmaster has been opting for knight c3, and sometimes Goryachkina would take on c4. In game 2, she opted for e6.
And once again, she went for e6 again, and they have played several games where they already had similar pawn structure on the board. Bishop g5 was the choice of Tan Zhongyi also in the second game. So far, we are pretty much following the second game. If Goryachkina goes knight to bd7, that's exactly how it happened too. And at this point, Tan Zhongyi decided to take the pawn on d5.
Aha.
She changes that.
She changes something, and it's of course understandable, because in game 2, what she played here, if we can show it very quickly, it was c takes first, thereafter c takes, the knight on d7 would be a bit odd, so e takes, e3, some sort of a cusp structure, a bit strange order the moves, but white plays bishop d3, queen c2, and if you remember, Goryachkina was able to equalize quite confidently with the early knight e4.
Yeah, knight e4, knight c6, f6, something a bit unusual for this structure, but it was enough to make a draw and have very pleasant position. So Tan Zhongyi says, okay, let's try something else. And she goes e3 right away. And this is the first moment when Goryachkina is taking her time. So obviously she doesn't want to take on c4 right away, Arturs, because this bishop on f8 will not lose any move and will take the pawn in one move. So she will wait a little bit for white to develop the bishop, and we have queen to a5.
So the Cambridge Springs, right? Queen a5. I'm not even sure what is the current reputation of the line. The reputation comes and goes all the time, as most of you are probably aware of. So black plays queen a5 with a couple of things. Escape the spin of the bishop on g5, and then try to play either knight e4, knight e5 with bishop b4 also to be played to apply some extra pressure on the knight on c3. And I do think there's one of the motives here for white to sacrifice the pawn on a2. Something like knight e5, rook c1, takes, queen a2. But then again, I'm not really sure what is the current reputation of this line, right? Because with the help of modern engines, new continuations are being discovered all the time. So here, I think there's knight takes on d5, e takes on d5 looks a bit strange because the queen on a5 is on the board. So there you go. Knight takes on d5. Goryachkina is trying to complicate matters here. And there we actually see Keti, a positional pawn sacrifice on the board. Rook c1, because this pawn on a2 is now hanging.
That's right. And what white is counting on is that this queen is far away from the game, and black has a problem in development because of this capturing this pawn with two moves. And white is hoping that that's more than enough to end my development and start to undermine the king's position in the center. So there's also another move, bishop to b4, to keep the pressure on c3 knight. And white obviously should not give up the c3 pawn because it will be with a check, and it's a central pawn. So after bishop to b4, there are queen c2 or queen b3 or queen d2 ideas, just anything which guards the pawn on c3.
All right. So yeah, again, here you can take the pawn on a2, right? And I think in general, white's idea is to sacrifice this pawn for get a considerable lead in development. Maybe Goryachkina is gonna do it. Maybe she is not. I'm not really sure what other options she has here, because this is, I mean, I wouldn't really say a super popular line right now. So h6 is played to push away the bishop. So it makes sense to play bishop h4, because on f4 you would allow the knight to take on f4 and get black to bishop advantage. This part makes sense. And now also look at this bishop on h4. I think one of the reasons why black included this move is that after some hostilities here, there might be occasions when you want to bring the bishop on d2 to protect the knight on c3, the pawn on c3, etc., to solidify your control on the center. And with this very smart inclusion of h6, the bishop on h4 is slightly out of business to help the queen side.
Yeah, that's right. And moves like h6 are always very much useful in this position, because in the end of the game, endgame, you need this pawn to be here. But besides that, there are some variations, not really here, but something like g5 and g4 at attacking right away White's knight on f3 and getting more and more space advantage on the king side is another thing. So always the question is, should I include h6 or should I not include h6? This question was pretty much answered by Goryachkina very fast, that she includes here, and makes a lot of sense to me too.
Right, and now she is going for the pawn, right? I think knight takes on c3, so rook takes on c3, bishop b4 with dropped exchange. White happily takes the pawn on c3, and now, do you take the pawn on a2? Because the queen is not trapped. I mean, you can take this pawn, but it's gonna cost you something. It's gonna cost time. So think about queen a2, rook a1. It seems the queen is almost trapped. No, it's not trapped. You can play queen d5, queen d6, retreat. And then we'll have an eternal question. What is stronger, lead in development or an extra pawn? But no, she doesn't take it. She plays bishop a3.
She goes bishop a3. I think it's no time for any kind of experiments in this game by Goryachkina. If she can take this pawn, and if Tanjongi will be able to convert that kind of, not even an advantage, it's just a sacrifice. But I believe it would be very hard for Goryachkina to develop the pieces, Arturs, after queen takes a2, because White could play just bishop d3, castle, and wait black to decide, where are you going to castle? Are you going to castle short side? Because if you do so, I can play bishop b1, queen d3, and start to annoy you on h7 square. And the knight on f6 can never come, because bishop takes f6 will win a game. And obviously you don't want to castle on the long side with these open files. So that makes a lot of sense to play bishop a3, what Goryachkina just did, attack the rook. White went to rook to c2, and now b6 has been played. They are playing very fast, and I really like the speed of Goryachkina's play. She says that I'm prepared for this, and today is the game that I'm not going to have any worse position.
Well, also Tanjongi is extremely fast. Actually, she's even faster. I mean, having spent almost no time, so this is definitely a theoretical discussion. But you know, I would like to go a bit, while we can, and the players are not yet so deep with the moves, about this moment. Because one of the things which has greatly changed in the past years is the understanding of the power of the sacrifice of the pawn to gain time. And I do believe that at professional circuit, there's like almost like a formula that it's a good idea to sacrifice a pawn if you get something like 2 tempi for that, right? So here, black played queen a2, queen a5, maybe he's going to lose even more. So this is a trade. It's a trade for white. I mean, I'm trading a pawn to gain time. And also white gets a very powerful center with something like e4, or the idea as Keti you described, bishop b1, queen d3. It has nothing even to do about capturing the queen on a5. It's only to win time. And white doesn't see immediately how to capitalize on it, unless, of course, there's a very deep prep, which I'm sure it is. But then she realized that this lead in development, strong center, and open A and B file of the queen side is going to give more than enough compensation. So welcome to the modern chess at its best. Yeah, that's right. It's for sure something that Tanjongi would have in a classical game, last classical game, to, you know, show off a little bit what's her skills. And very least, there is also a possibility just to hold the game and make a draw. But anyways, we have this position. Goryachkina did not want for it. And Artur, I was checking if we had any games at this position. And I have discovered that online game has been played before knight to d2. Knight d2 is just something different here and something new. Instead of this, white has played bishop to d3 or bishop to e2. And black's idea was to play bishop a6. And in the games, like after castle, black was managing to trade the light square bishops, and the game is going on. So this is a normal position indeed. So with the knight to d2 idea, which Tanjongi for sure has prepared this at home, because she has not even spent 1 minute. If you play something different, if you are going to decide from your line, you need to at least invest a few minutes for that. But it seems like this is her home preparation, and she goes knight to d2. So the idea is that if black plays bishop a6, I want to play knight c4 first. And
I'm taking one of your bishops. If you want to trade my light square bishop, you have also give up the dark square bishop.
Right, that's a very good point. But Keti, this knight e2 looks so natural to me. And it is a very common maneuver in some ground-fault positions. The knight d2, knight b3, knight c4. So maybe for the casual viewer, I'm sorry, where did I go here? So here. Now, maybe for the casual viewer, the question is, why do you move the knight the second time? Because the rules of chess, the best practices tell you need to finish development first. So that would be bishop d3, short castle, fight for the center, etc. Well, yeah, normally, of course, but that's why there's also sometimes exceptions. And the bishop on a3 and queen on a5 leave this threat for knight c4 quite a serious idea. Also, white opens the path for the queen to jump on g4, apply some pressure on the king side. It makes sense. And Goryachkina did play very quickly bishop a6, not being afraid of knight c4. And there you go. This is an interesting idea. c4, not trading the bishop, but try to limit black's pieces at the edge of the board.
That's interesting. So the idea of knight d2 was not to play knight c4. I was very wrong with that. But the idea was to cover the diagonal. Like, you cannot play c4 because there was a check. And this knight is a shield right now to the king on e1, and she is maintaining the center with c4 pawn, and white's idea is to play bishop d3 castle, and with this center try to claim that it is an advantage for white.
But I think this knight c4 was perfectly playable. I think there's nothing wrong with this move. Maybe the only thing is that that white is not claiming any advantage. There's also queen a4, and now after knight a3 I could take on f1. Whatever you do, king takes an f1, queen a3, and probably Goryachkina would estimate that this is all right. I mean, within a normal position, queen b6, c5, short castle, while white is trying to figure out where to put the king, and probably she's right, and that's why Tsatsalashvili very quickly did play c4, trying to make these pieces on the edge of the board for black look really bad.
That's right. And once again, we have this scenario where Tsatsalashvili is blitzing out. Today is an extreme day. I've never seen her 1 hour and 35 minutes, Artur. I think you don't remember it happening in this tournament too. Today she's going extra fast. And Goryachkina is once again taking her time, which is quite normal here. It seems like it's something new for her, and definitely she needs to figure it out how to play. And the moves that she has, it's not something that she's having any worse position or something, but she can here castle with black pieces. She can also play c5 to stop white's pawns at this point, and also to look for some kind of trades, because after all, look at this position. It is black who can castle in one move, and white needs a little bit more moves to castle, right? And with this moves, c5, rook c8, you can just... sorry, rook d8 is impossible. Rook c8, I think. You can start to attack in the center. However, Goryachkina goes with the castle first, makes sure that her king is safe. After bishop to d3, I really expect here c5 move, or even e5 move.
Right, but the big question is, what are your pieces doing at the A file, really? I mean, black has positioned exactly 4 pieces at the A file, and as a general rule in chess, it's not a good idea to position pieces on the edge of the board. Why? Because they're simply lacking the controlled spaces on the other side, because the board simply ends there, right? So that's why the knight on the edge of the board, the bishop on the edge of the board does not always stand the best. And Tsatsalashvili just plays all of these natural moves, bishop d3, short castle, and I think here Alexandra should be a bit concerned, unless she is still within her prep. Maybe she knows this move. But it is a bit worrisome for her, because essentially she is not yet playing against Tsatsalashvili. She is playing against a supercomputer. She is playing against a preparation. And if you feel you are in this position, you might be afraid to go for a critical continuation, because again, you don't know how far this preparation goes, and you're trying somehow to divert.
I agree with that. That was well said, Arturs, because like usually in these days, you know that you're playing against the strong computer and the good memory of your opponent. So let's just try to figure it out what is happening. Actually, we had not had any predictions today because we start right away. So the question is not tie breaks possible? Well, in case if this game ends in a draw, we're going to have 100% tie breaks tomorrow. However, they started so sharp. We cannot really say that this game can end peacefully. However, the position itself seems to be just fine for both sides and equal by the correct play. And we have b5 or c5. It should be c5, right?
C5. Very committal decision because now the queen on a5 is essentially locked out of the game. I'm pretty sure that Tanzhanki should respond very quickly. But this game, I think it might be a decider. It might be a decider right here because, I mean, the players maybe don't want to get the tie breaks because tie breaks is, I don't know, maybe like a penalty, right? I mean, the penalty shots, 11 meters in the World Cup of football, which is ongoing right now. You never know how it's going to go, right? And you're trying to settle things in the standard time, and also for the players, they're trying to settle out things with a classical time control because if you enter rapid and blitz, I mean, everything can happen. And Goryachkina is also not confident that she is going to be the favorite in the tiebreak. So why not try to complicate things a little bit? Because so far, the viewers, we've been watching this match, I have the impression that Tanzhanki is out preparing Goryachkina. That is my impression. Every single game, Goryachkina just can't guess which direction the game is going to continue, and that's why there's again the change of the scenery. She plays this gambit springs with queen a5, tries to go forward, rather rare sideline, and boom, even there, Tanzhanki is ready.
Yeah, this is a great example of good preparation to meet what Tanzhanki is doing. I don't believe that herself and her team came up with this idea this morning or yesterday evening. For sure, they had a very nice preparation, and all these moves that she's playing, all these openings she's playing, it doesn't feel like there was the sideline shown by her coach round before. And also she understands quite a lot of these positions. Actually, we have a funny comment in our chat. Define find position with 4 black pieces on a column. But okay, I understand this point that black has all these pieces there, but those 2 bishops are, targeting white's pieces. Like a6 bishop targets c4, a3 bishop was played to control c1 square and b2 square. So they are kind of limiting white's pieces, in my opinion. So
they're just
so bad.
And they're just firing out these moves, Keti, like there's no tomorrow. I mean, playing extremely fast. Again, c5, c takes. I guess Goryachkina just believes that this is going to be all right. And we are going to have a very, very famous topic. What is stronger? Because these little things here on c4, d4, ladies and gentlemen, they are hanging pawns. And there's a discussion of pretty much of a long of decades. What is stronger? These pawns which form a small center, or they're actually a weakness. And black is thinking about rook c8. Okay, not through the 8 right away because it's under attack. Black wants to undermine this center with something like e5 or b5. So it's going to be a very unbalanced game. But I'm still slightly worried about this queen on a5 because I don't see easily how do you get it somewhere to more safe place like c7. b5?
Yeah, maybe queen will keep the eye on h5 square, or this something on the 5th rank when she has some sort of like free places. But for now, none of these squares on the 5th rank are open for the queen. Which, yeah, for sure this queen is not under attack, but there can be some moves like knight b3 that will change the position of the queen, and black will be forced to do so. Actually, Artur, I was very curious if this kind of position has played earlier, because they're really playing too fast. Also, Goryachkina, she's taking her time, but she's not going very deep thoughts. And I found a game which has happened 2008, 2300 average rating players, and the game continued here after e takes d4 with rook to f to e8, probably black wanted to push e5 next move. Queen e2, bishop b4, rook to d1.
Bishop what? Bishop b4.
Yeah, bishop b4. Rook to d1, rook a to c8. So the idea is to take on d2 and then try to annoy the pawn on c4. h3, knight f8, queen g4.
h3? That makes no sense. Okay, knight f8, okay.
Yeah. Queen g4, knight to d7, queen e4, knight to f8, and after queen g4, the game ended in a draw.
Okay, pretty sure this is not going to happen.
Yeah.
But this h3, I mean, Keti was showing one of the only game being played so far in this line. It doesn't really make any sense. So I think white should be either thinking about some sort of a kingside attack or play knight b3, push forward one of those queenside pawns. I guess we are going to see. So Goryachkina, maybe she knows this, but you don't really know when she has seen this, because it's not like their viewers, the chess professionals, they're repeating the line, every single line every month, right? And sometimes you look at the line like 2 years ago. And then after 2 years, you have the opportunity to finally play it because it's such a rare line. I mean, not talking about this opening as such, but just in a general concept. And then you have to remember, oh my goodness, what was there, right? What was in this discussion? We had this very nice training camp. My coach was showing me this. I had this file. Oh my goodness, what was there, right? And this memory, again, memorization is extremely important, because if you don't remember, if you mess it up, then you're on your own. So I'm not sure if Goryachkina remembers all of this. Maybe she has seen something like this, that the idea has to be c5, c takes, but it's not like, I don't think she recalls that there's this 2300 level game that somebody already played it.
No, I don't think so. Actually, I made a little research because I am so curious about this opening itself and this 92 move. Shall we go a little bit back while they're taking some time? And I found it very interesting thing. I just discovered this. Remember this line when we played bishop a6, knight to c4, queen a4, knight takes the bishop takes the bishop on f1, and white lost the right to castle. And we were like, black is just good in here. But instead of this, Artur, white had a really sneaky move on, instead of knight f4. If we go back...
Instead of knight what?
Knight c4, instead of knight c4.
Okay.
Instead of knight c4, here white can play bishop c4.
Oh.
So you want to castle, play queen e2, and if black takes now bishop c4, you take knight c4, queen a4, and you have this position where white has not to lose the right to castle. And, you know, it's knight versus bishop, strong center after e4, e5, some kind of ideas like that.
Mm-hmm. I guess white is slightly better. I'm not really sure how much. I mean, white should be better. The bishop is stronger. Bishop g3, some better control of the center. But then again, we can argue if after bishop c4, black would really have to take. Although there's this knight b3 threat, and should castle isn't there. But I mean, Tsatsalashvili did play c4 very quickly, so this means that she is aware of this. Unless she's bluffing. I don't think so.
No, I don't think so. There have been some games played, so probably she knows these positions, and she's happy to have these hanging pawns in the center.
Yeah, so this game can go either way. And now after rook e8, black's idea is pretty obvious. She wants to play e5, maybe also retreat with the bishop on e7 to free up the d8 square. So this move is extremely logical. Let's say I play something like, again, rook e1. I'm not sure if I need this move. I could play either e5, with the idea, for example, e5, if I'm not accurate, white is simply left with a bad pawn on c4, which is going to be a long-term weakness. This might be idea number one. And idea number two is to play bishop e7, free up the d8 square, let's say trade, whatever, knight f3, rook d8, let's say, again, h3, knight f6, and black is pressing these pawns. Somehow. Bishop b7, bishop f3. So this is a very classical position, although not from this line really. I think you would get it from some Karakan lines sometimes, from the IQP positions. let's not talk about it perhaps because it's not really so important, but Goryachkina's choice, it definitely makes sense here.
I would also add another like extra idea here for black because in these positions we saw the game queen g4, queen e4. So that can be the idea, Arturs, here, like queen f3 or queen e2 or queen g4 and then queen e4. And basically when the rook is on f8, you don't have knight f8 idea to guard h7 weakness. And this is also some kind of move, rook f8, that you are ready to play knight f8 if you have to do so. And that's fine for the moment.
All right. Yep. So you're absolutely right. This definitely does make sense. And now I wonder if white should somehow capitalize on the fact that black's pieces are slightly misplaced at a file. I mean, there's 4 of them. So I'll be thinking, can I play something like knight b3? Either I go for this king side attack, but I already see this knight f8 that you said. Now, yeah, I mean, where do you position the queen? Let's say queen a4. And I was thinking, can I play something along the lines of, I mean, not immediately, probably, but like this. But there's a problem. Yeah, the bishop on h4 is hanging. But my idea was to get something like this, right? I mean, I get the outside pass pawn, put the bishop on d6, and I claim an advantage. So I think for white, this could be one scenario how she could try to claim an advantage. But the problem is, yeah, the bishop is under attack.
Yeah, that's the problem indeed, this bishop on h4. And you can also just play bishop g3, because this bishop on h4 also takes f6 square under the control, and knight cannot centralize. But yeah, at some point, maybe white should think of push c5. And how about if we push d5 pawn, Arturs, like a knight? Yeah, same thing. The bishop on h4 is still hanging.
Yeah, so I don't know, maybe you play bishop g3, but then after bishop g3, you relinquish the control of the d8 square. And now the c5 for d5, you have also 3 pieces yourself at the d file, might be not very good, and the preparation is slow. So I can assume that Dungeon Key would love black to spend the time to get rid of this knight, of this bishop, like bishop e7, and then she could play bishop g3, you know, because you have committed yourself by slightly putting the bishop in on a passive square in e7. And queen e2 is played, I guess, a preparation move for either queen e4 or the c-pawn push, because now the bishop here in d3 is protected.
Yeah, that's right. So knight e2 is kind of preparation, like preparing of something. Arturs, I was thinking, is she going to play something like knight to c3, knight to b3, rook c3, bishop c2, and get this rook on the 3rd rank?
I like that. It also enables this idea. I think so, in some way. Although, why not immediately? Yeah? Like knight b3, queen a4, now rook c3. But then I can play bishop b4.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not in time. But it doesn't mean that she's not going there. Maybe she is going to go there somehow. If the situation is going to allow it, maybe knight e4, rook c3, bishop b1, rook g3. And queen e2 is just one step closer to create this battery of the queen and the bishop. But again, it's facing the rook on e8. So I'm wondering if this Keti is some sort of a provocation to play e5.
Yeah, that's a very good question. And also e5 is the move that black would like to play if it's working, right? You open up the file, queen is on e file, you have rook on e file. So if white plays d5, then you're going to have c5, very nice outpost for your knight, for your bishop.
Yeah, but then I play knight b3. And now the point is, I have quite a few pieces at the king side, because you look at this king on g8, it's alone. There's no defenders. And if I get the rook on g3, this might be just lights out for black, because I have so many pieces attacking the king. I look at these black pieces, they're doing something at the queen side, not sure what. So I think d5 actually does make sense here.
Okay. But we have to be careful with e4. Is this not winning something? e4, knight or bishop takes a4, and f5 then.
Well, you're forcing me to sacrifice, I guess. So take here, and now I have to sacrifice something big time. I am not sure exactly how. Or maybe I take with the bishop. Take a 5, and now I need a very smart move. Maybe I don't have it. Yeah, I don't see. Do you?
No, thinking of knight b3, but it doesn't change too much.
Knight b3, queen a4. Yeah, and okay, you could sacrifice a queen, of course, for rook and 2 pawns, but I guess it's not going to be enough.
Ah. No, we can't make on time. Like imagine we take bishop f5, bishop d7, and then knight b3 might be something, but no, we are not on time.
Oh, okay.
No, this is just...
You're right. You're right, e4 looks quite strong. And again, knight e4, f5, is there some ideas? Queen d2 is not a move because the queen on a5 is protected. This doesn't work. Otherwise, if the pawn was on b7, queen d2 would be a move, maybe. Now it's not. And
you can play queen somewhere and claim that this is just fine for me. I took 2 pawns.
yeah, but I don't see how it's fine because queen f5, there's always knight f8. So
Yeah. So Artur, actually my point was like if e5 is working and d5 is not working, maybe I can try to go. But Goryachkina didn't play that. She played rook to c8.
I mean, maybe she's right. You know, e5 looked incredibly responsible move. And by doing this, she's not saying she's not going to do it. It's just right away not.
Our chat says after queen g4, after e5, you can try queen g4 to attack the knight first.
Yeah, it definitely makes sense. I was also looking at queen e4, and I couldn't very quickly calculate what happens. Because now I can include this d5, and then maybe your king side is a bit more vulnerable. I get maybe, yeah, but you're right. Queen g4 also looks perfectly logical. So Goryachkina, she is very well known for being patient player, and she's not going to rush things because e5, when you are not ready for a counter-strike in the center, it does make sense to bring all of your pieces in the game, not reveal the cards. So again, you have to feel this balance. When do you have to make very concrete decisions like strike in the center, and when you have time to play a bit slower. Sometimes it's a good idea, and sometimes it's just a colossal waste of time.
Maybe it makes sense to play bishop f8 and then bishop g6, bishop g7 to keep the king safe. It makes a lot of sense to me too. And so also this bishop from g7 will attack the pawn in the center. And many of these lines that we have seen, Black's king was really not well guarded. So, and also this bishop on a3 so far is not doing that big job, and for sure it can be retreated back.
Right. All right. So what do we do here, Keti? Do we go for the king side attack? Like,
yes.
Queen e4 or knight b3 positional play? What do we do? You want to attack? Boom.
Yes. Let's go. Let's attack.
Knight f8, I guess, right? It makes sense. g6 is creating too many weaknesses. f5, oh my goodness, don't do this at home. Knight f6, you just take it. So it's got to be knight f8. It's got to be knight f8. And now maybe white has more flexibility in the center. Like
now,
this.
Yeah, can we do c5 right away? So the queen is on e4.
Your idea is to play knight c4, knight e6?
Yes. So if black takes the pawn on c5, I will go knight c4, I guess. I'm winning a piece on a3.
Oh, wait. Oh, my God. That's a sneak attack. You convinced me you're forking on d6. No, actually, you're going after the bishop. Nice.
I never see knight d6.
Okay. You're just looking at the bishop. Actually, that's a very nice idea.
You look at that side of the board. I look at white side of the board.
Okay, so this is actually a bit risky for black, right? Knight c4 is a very dangerous threat. And the bishop on a3 is excluded. Okay, let's improve this game, this line. What about I take it immediately? And now I give you a fork? Or what do I do?
Wait, can we take the pawn on c5 again? So I want to play knight b3 now.
For some reason, I don't like this. I don't know why.
If you take with the rook, I'll play knight to b3, and I'm winning in exchange. If you take with the bishop, Artur, I can play still knight to b3.
No, you know, Keti, why I don't like this? It looks like white is a bit disorganized for this type of action. The bishop on h4 is somewhere under attack in some lines. And White's entire idea of creating a passed pawn is holding on tricks. That's what I don't like. So it's easy to miss something. It's easy to miss some sort of order of the moves where even if you're not, even if you're keeping the pawn on c5 alive, you're simply not going to be in time to play bishop g3, bishop d6. That's why I don't like it. I mean, at least immediately. But if you ask me what's wrong with this, maybe there's nothing wrong. I don't see immediately. Maybe there is something wrong. Takes, bishop c5, knight b3, rook c1, and maybe the spin is actually killing. Who knows? Because there could be something like queen a4. I'm attacking your bishop here.
But the fact that we have such ideas, at least in... She pushed the pawn. Which pawn is d5, c5?
She did play c5.
c5? Right away, without queen e4.
Wow.
Ooh. Whoa.
This must be prep. This must be prep because you can't do like this. You can't play so quickly. How much time she spent? What, 5 minutes? Less? She played c5. I'm not convinced.
Like seeing this c5, I don't know who is better here. I liked it c5 in the other position, but this one can also be working. Why not? Because the bishop on a6 is hanging now and you're kind of forcing the events. But Artur, we might not see tiebreaks tomorrow if they continue to play so complicated game. But
they already removed their gloves off. I mean, these are gloves off fight. That's it. They're fighting. They're fighting here. They don't want to see the tiebreaks. I think this is the impression for both players. Because you don't really know how the tiebreaks are going to turn it out. And they want to take their chances. And it was Goryachkina who entered this slightly risky line. Maybe it's gonna backfire, but if I was black, I would be, concerned terribly because my opponent is playing this very responsible c5 with very little thing. You are just afraid of yourself. Am I still in the prep? And this gives you incredible amount of pressure because you're afraid to enter the critical line because it might as well simply be losing.
That's right. That's right. Wow, this is getting very interesting, guys. So thank you so much, Andestar, for the raid. We have now more people joining us for this event. Everyone, this is Women's Candidate Tournament 2022 Pool B, and we have the last classical game. So this is a decisive game indeed. If any of the players win this game, goes to the finals against Lei Ting-Ji. And in the finals, the prize fund is 70,000 euros. So a lot of things are now on the table, and it really much depends on this game too. In case, if we have a draw, we're going to have tomorrow the tie break in a rapid games, then blitz games. But Artur, I'm afraid after c5, very likely we will not see tie breaks.
I just realized we included queen e4 and then we played c5. I realized this is not the same position because I thought this is the same, like queen e4, knight of 8 and c5. And then I was not sure what's happening. Here, c5 immediately, there is a difference because with the queen on e2 and the bishop on d3, this bishop is under attack.
Yeah.
And there's no time for black to take on c5 because the bishop is hanging. So here, it's actually pretty simple. I take it back, right? It's not even gambling. It just looks incredibly natural because now black doesn't have to take the pawn on c5. Knight c4 is a big threat. And the king is a bit vulnerable, but I'm really concerned about this outpost on d6 for the knight. I mean, how do you even respond to this?
Actually, Artur, that's what I also realized when I saw this c5, because with the queen on e2, you are pretty much forced to take the bishop. The bishop is hanging. If you play bishop e7, then knight c4, and you're losing, some exchange. Let's say exchange, if not more, because after queen a4, knight d6, bishop e5 is also on the board. You are actually losing a way more. But the thing is that you have to take on d3 or you have to play b5. And when you have to do such a thing, and now b5, because if you go bishop b4, knight c4, knight d6 is still on the board.
So, let me think about this for a moment. But I have a feeling that Goryachkina just made a big mistake. Because if she can't properly meet knight c4 threat, the white knight is getting to d6, And now this is an actual fork. If there's no immediate response, then Goryachkina is in big trouble here. Because again, how do you respond? The bishop is under attack. So how do you stop this knight maneuver? Once again, trade here. Knight c4, big threat.
Yeah.
c6 is a threat, creating a pass pawn. By the way, c6 is also something you have to account for, right? It's also a move. Okay, you don't take on d3. So what do? You play bishop e7. Knight c4, knight e6 is still a move.
Oh no, that's horrible. You're gonna lose this game right away.
Well, what else? You play b5. Knight e4, knight e6 is still a move. So for white to lead, it's very easy. It's a very simple plan. And I think that the reason why Tan Zhongyi played it so quickly, I guess she knew. Maybe not exactly this position, that one of the key ideas of queen e2 is to play c5. So probably rook c8 was a bit surprised to her. And she thought about like 5 minutes. Wait, I mean, c5 is working, right? And let's go for this.
Yeah, it turned out that rook to a to c8 was not the most accurate move here, because it's kind of like, just imagine, Arturs, you played rook to c8 and white plays c5 anyway on this file. Like, you went against that and anyway white plays it. So instead of this, maybe it was not so bad of what our chat suggested with this bishop f8 to run away with the bishop and not to have, because now after c5, bishop a3 is one of the issues that black is having. If not this bishop, queen would walk away and this bishop controls d6 square perfectly well from f8 and it's not hanging. So yeah, rook a to c8 is a mistake to my...
Again, Goryachkina is out-prepped. She's simply out-prepped, right? And Tan Zhongyi's preparation goes simply deeper. That's the impression we are getting in this match. And Goryachkina just couldn't get into this match. It's extremely difficult to play against very strong opponent, former world champion Tan Zhongyi, who was world champion from, what was it, 2017-18, I think. I hope I'm not terribly wrong. And every single time, every single game, Tan Zhongyi is just showing superb preparation. She was playing game one with black for the victory, and something just did not go the right way for Goryachkina. She decided to change the character of the game, to take the fight and avoid tiebreaks. And now it seems it just backfired. And I wonder, how did she miss the c5? Because after queen e2, I think this idea of c5, knight c4, it should be quite obvious. Or she hallucinated something. I don't know.
Yeah, I did not see c5 was coming right away, because with the queen e2, you don't really feel like queen just stays there and attacks the bishop on a6. You feel like this queen goes on e4, threatens some checkmates and so on. So maybe Goryachkina's direction went to that side too. We really never know. Otherwise, she would not blunder. If she knew that c5 was a threat here, she would never play rook to c8, because obviously white is getting here's big advantage.
Major slip by Goryachkina. Very, very strange decision to blunder c5, and I guess now she's going to regret this. And this is the moment, yeah, when you have to stop. Because you have to stop, you have to calm down yourself. Oh my goodness, what did I just do? And you ask yourself, am I lost? Am I lost here, right? And maybe she's still not yet lost. I mean, somebody chat said there is a huge advantage for white according to the engines. Maybe it's still not winning. So you need to take a deep breath, collect your thoughts together, and start the game from scratch right here, right? Again, I think she's going to spend some time here. Give her something like 15, 20 minutes, because this is a psychologically extremely difficult moment. And if she's going to rush it, if she's going to rush immediately, something like in 5 minutes to respond, not to fall behind in time, there is a fair chance she might make the second mistake in a row, because dear viewers, you probably know this rule. Mistakes come in pairs. This rule has been around forever. Unfortunately, it's been proven in practice. You make one mistake, you psychologically feel very bad about it, and then without a lot of thinking, you commit the big one.
I agree with this, because you're getting upset of what you have done, and then you are starting to worry too much, and you are just following next and next. That I also very much agree. I just checked that Tan Zhongyi has won the World Championship. She won World Cup, Arturs. Remember, like, they have new system right now, and back then it was different system for women and for men at the World Championship cycle. And back then, in these years, it was World Cup. Like, if you were winning a World Cup, you were entitled the world championship title. So she won this World Cup, which was knockout system, and then she faced Zhu Wenjun, also from China, and she lost the match against Zhu Wenjun. So we might have this scenario of Tan Zhongyi, Zhu Wenjun once again if she wins this game, if she wins the match against Lei Jingzhi, and then goes to the finals of the World Championship against Zhu Wenjun.
That will be something, 3 Chinese players, right? I mean, the final of the candidates is 2 Chinese players, so the champion is from China, right? So it just shows the pure dominance of women's chess right now. And the strongest #1 female player, I mean, maybe, okay, I'm going to take it back, maybe not the strongest, but the highest rated female player, Hou Yifan, is not even participating in the cycle, right? So that's essentially 4.
Yeah. We named all the world champions in chess history, and we named 6 women world champions so far. What we have, but what we see so far, how Tan Zhongyi plays in these games, she is in a great form. She is truly in a great form in the sense of tactics, in the sense of some. For instance, also tie breaks. Rapid is also part of the knockout systems in the finals of the candidates tournament. Also at the World Championship, like if the match is tied, then it goes to the tie breaks. And yeah, so far I think everyone would agree that Tan Zhongyi shows her best form.
Right, and now this is also a chance for Alexandra to show her fighting skills. And she is #2 in the world. She is #2 rated in the world. She was the runner-up of the previous World Championship match against Yu Wenyun. She knows how it is to be in a tough situation. So let's also not write down her chances, because it's only an opening. It's not. It's quite obvious that she made a mistake. I think so. She already accepts it. Now you have to work on this. You need to create some practical chances, problems. And I think it's pretty sure that also Tan Zhongyi's prep probably is already finished, because I think she just knows C5 is just very good for white. There's the knight C4, knight E6, but now the players are on their own. So one slip from Tan Zhongyi and Goryachkina still might be in the game, because remember the tiebreak. I mean, it was a tiebreak. Game 3 match, Tan Zhongyi against Katerina Lagno. We're saying, okay, this game is over. Lagno is winning. And then what happened?
Yeah.
A complete turnaround of their wins. Everything can still happen here.
Yeah, Artur, I was checking with the computer. I wanted to know what's the computer line here, how it offers to guard here with the black pieces. So computer says just take the bishop on d3, otherwise you are having worse position. And after queen to d3, here there's 2 lines. I will start with b takes c5, which drops the bishop, knight c4, queen e6, queen takes a3, queen takes a3, knight takes a3, and c takes d4. And computer says that this is plus 1 point something.
So it's winning. So
winning,
I think we can assume it's winning, because computers don't calculate it so far. Goryachkina is going to go here unless there's absolute no choice, because a piece is a stronger thing than 2 pawns. There's so many pieces on the board. What's the other line?
The other line is, at this point, take the bishop, queen takes, and to play bishop b4. I stopped here after knight c4. I thought like there's not big chances here, but there's queen a6. So this queen pins the knight. You don't have knight d6 right away. However, white plays here a3. The bishop is sort of trapped there. Bishop a5.
Oh my goodness.
Now white plays queen to b3.
Queen b3.
Queen to b3. I don't know what's the difference between queen b3 or queen f3. I personally like queen f3 more, because after
Let's play queen f3. Let's play queen f3.
Yes.
And after b takes, what's the idea? I slowly don't follow.
Okay. Now it makes a lot of sense. Queen b3. Queen b3 is the move, Arturs. Because now I understand. After queen b takes c, you have queen a4.
Oh, okay, sure.
Yeah, so,
you're winning a piece. And
that's why the engine suggests a move. I don't understand what the hell is this queen b3, why I play this. But you make one human move and you surely understand what is happening.
And if I take on d4, queen d7.
Yeah. And the D8 rook is hanging.
You can't take it. This rook is hanging. You can't play rook d8 because bishop is here. This can still be miscalculated. I mean, is this so obvious? Once again, what was it? Bishop d3, take it. Bishop b4, knight c4. I'm thinking, can I escape this position? Queen a6. I'm thinking, can I escape this position by giving up the exchange for a pawn somehow? Let's say, again, I'm not sure how strong it is. Something like queen a4. You're going to play knight e6, and I want to take on c5. And you're going to, let's say, take on wherever. Let's say e8. Take it, and I'm praying that this is holding. I don't think it's holding really, but I'm praying that I'm going to somehow play bishop b6, knight f8. Please leave me alone. You're having the exchange. I have the pawn for it, and maybe this is somehow holding along the lines.
Yeah, I agree with this. Maybe this is the best scenario for Goryachkina at this point, but after the queen e4, this is a3 intermediate move, which changes the picture. a3, you are forced to play this, and now I will go to knight d6.
And if I take?
And now I take the rook.
The difference is you don't win the pawn.
Yeah, I have very strong pawn.
Well, that looks... Oh, wait.
Oh, bishop is hanging on.
I told you. There's some tricks. Yeah, so be careful.
Knight is hanging on this.
Oh, wait, although I take on d7. Yeah, so the line continues. Okay. With the help of little engine help, we just got a peek so that we know what engine is thinking about. Let's not do that again. We see that things are really bad for Goryachkina, and this confirms the big threat of knight e4, knight e6, and I think that Goryachkina is seeking this practical chance. Again, give her 15, 20 minutes. She is not going to make a move faster because she does not want to commit a second mistake in a row. Dear viewers, how do you feel about this moment? Do you think that Tan Zhongyi is going to win? Or Goryachkina is going to show her fighting spirit and she's going to come back?
Yeah, that's a very good question to you guys on our YouTube and Twitch chat. Make sure that you let us know who do you support or who do you think can win this match, or maybe you think and hope for the tiebreaks and you want this game to end in a draw. Just let us know who is your favorite. Yeah, we have actually a lot of a lot of thoughts on our YouTube chat. If Tan Zhongyi wins, does she go through? This is the last game, guys. If any of the player wins, goes to the finals of the candidates, which means the finals is when the winner of Pool A and the winner of Pool B, this one, faces each other, and those gonna be last two players. Lei Tingzhi has already qualified to this, and either Tan Zhongyi or Alexandra Goryachkina will face. And this is a tournament where the first place gets 70,000 euros, and this is the biggest prize fund so far for these tournaments. And then the winner of the finals will go to the World Championship match. So a lot of things are right now in this on the table for this game, and so much nerves, Artur, so much nerves.
Of course, nerves play a huge role in this match, and maybe also the way the match has been ongoing so far, that this match is going really tough for Goryachkina. Also, yesterday's inability even posed the slightest problems to Zhongyi, played a role. Again, game one with white, she was again almost practically lost. She managed to save it. And Tan Zhongyi is just calling the shots almost in every game. Okay, the game number 2, she had an equal position with white. So Goryachkina didn't manage to create any practical chances to win in any single game. So it affects, it definitely affects, because you feel your opponent is on top 4, maybe herself, she's feeling slightly under the weather. We don't know, right? We don't know, because there's so many factors which can contribute to your performance. How well did you sleep? Maybe you're feeling slightly under the weather. Maybe there's something from the private life, unfortunately, bugging you. You never know. And these things, they sometimes show your performance.
Yeah, for sure. And no one says that we're so strong that we can face some of the some of the life problems, and we can still focus on chess because like there's so many side factors can affect everyone. And yeah, we don't really know what's going on. This game is a complex of good preparation, good memory, because you need to obviously memorize all this preparation, teamwork. You need help of the coach, of your seconds, and of the computer. And while we're saying second, it means that there are a group of people, mainly at this level, who are working with the engines and they are creating the folders for you, which is sent to your coach, and then coach sum up the things and tells you. So it's a whole teamwork. What we have. Good sleep is the key point for chess players. They need to be well rested to recover from the previous game, and also just the mood is very important. I think Goryachkina kept the bishop on the board and she played queen to a4.
No, wait, what?
Yeah.
This is too fast. This is a too fast choice. I don't like it. Although, how much time she spent? Something like 10 minutes? Okay, maybe 15 minutes. So she's trying to confuse the opponent. Queen a4, take on a6, queen c2.
It shows me 19 minutes and 40.
90 minutes. Okay.
Yeah.
I was expecting, to be honest, slightly more. So she is all about tricks, obviously. Bishop a6, queen c2. Also, you notice that bishop on h4 is under attack. But if this was not the engine choice, there's something wrong with this. Yeah, and chat says evaluation now is +3, and this means this is something wrong. And like I said, I mean, mistakes come in pairs. But wait, let's not use any engines. Let's try to figure out. Because it's incredibly important position right now.
So first of all, the bishop on a6 is hanging. So let's go with this line, Arturs, I think. Bishop a6, queen to c2. Bishop
all right.
c8.
You want to take on c8. I was thinking take on d7. Okay, bishop c8, rook c8, and where's your follow-up? Oh, wait.
Queen a6. Queen a6.
Queen a6, attacking the rook, attacking the bishop. And if I play, whatever, rook e8.
And now, Arturs, I'm thinking either we take the bishop and push c6.
Oh my goodness, this is so strong.
Or we take on a7.
No, that's it. This is just killing. I mean, bishop g3, this pawn should be advancing very fast. So, bishop a6, take it. This is forced, right?
Yeah.
This is forced. I mean, there's even no way for Tsatsalashvili to make a mistake. Queen a6. Okay, I'm not sure about rook e8. Maybe something else, but what? Maybe some sort of rook c6.
Sure.
But I don't believe this. I mean,
now the problem is I can go for rook. Yeah, queen to b7.
And this rook is checkmated. No, this is bad. So rook c6 is bad. So once again, queen a6. Let's say, yeah, I don't know. Rook a8, take it at c6. Nicely spotted there. And this is just one line, really. Just one line, because after bishop a6, queen takes on c2, there could be even bishop b5.
Yeah, you know what I'm thinking? What is Goryachkina's idea here? Like, what's the trick?
She's collapsing. That's my gut feeling. She's just collapsing because she did make the second mistake in a row. I mean, she is feeling not well. Psychologically, incredibly difficult moment for Alexandra. Maybe there's something else which is bugging her. I'm very, very sorry to hear that, but this is not how she usually plays. She enters a line, she misses something, then there's the second mistake, and
maybe she's rely on this bishop on h4 at some point, like bishop a6, rook to c5, some kind of sacrifices.
Not here, right? Because I'm just up a piece.
Already, and I'm giving up the rook for a pawn.
Yeah, so...
Oh, that's the desperation.
No. Bishop a6 again. Bishop a6. This is going to be the top choice that Tsatsalashvili is going to check. And she's going to check the most obvious move. And in the theory of calculation, you are checking the immediate captures. You don't start with something like an knight b3. You don't start with something like bishop g3. You are checking the capture. So there's no way that Tan Zhongyi is simply going to walk past it. Maybe the only thing is that she might be confused because there's so many good continuations. Imagine yourself, there's this move, this move, this move, like 5 moves in total. She's confused. She don't know what to choose. She spends time.
Yeah, but
she played already bishop a6 very quickly. Look at that.
she's taking that. She prefers to have this kind of, confusion moments when which piece to take now. Should I take the rook on c8? Should I play bishop e5? Just give me more confusion at this point. I'm so surprised, guys. Goryachkina is just falling apart in this game, last game. So far, she was guarding all the games. We cannot say that she had advantage in any of the games, but she was holding it really cool. And today, everything went so wrong within just 1 hour from the start. We just started this tournament 1 hour ago, and we can see that she's already having losing position.
So Tan Zhongyi simply saw, okay, this line is winning, I'm going for this. Really simple. She did not even spend a single more second. Why do I need to check something else? If the line of bishop a6, according to her, is winning, once again, queen c2, bishop c8, there's no way for black even try to divert from this line. Rook c8, I guess she simply blundered again, queen a6 idea, now that the bishop on a3 and the rook on c8 is under attack, so you don't give up the rook. And queen a3, c6 to follow, and we are seeing that on the board. I mean, this is super surprising turn of events.
Whoa.
This game might just end like in 1 hour. 1.5 hours, really, because white's play is really so straightforward. Goryachkina is collapsing under the pressure. Very, very unfortunate for her and her fans, but that's chess. I mean, that's chess really right there.
I really have a mixed feeling. Obviously, when we have the last classical game, Goryachkina has been through too many games and the matches. She won the first match really nicely against Kostyuk. You don't want to see any of these players to be going through these kind of games that you are just losing in 1 hour, the most important last game. But on the other hand, we should not steal the moment from Tan Zhongyi. She did great today, and not only today. She's in a great form. I would also repeat one more time.
Right, and now Goryachkina, of course, sees queen a6. I think she already saw it as soon as she played queen a4, because this moment, unfortunately, is like a eureka. It's like, ha. Now I see what's wrong with my plan. Unfortunately, dear viewers, this always... 99% it happens after you make the move. After you make the move, and queen a4 was just asking for the trouble, and unfortunately Goryachkina did commit the second mistake in a row. She did not manage to cope with the psychological pressure. It was just too much. And on top of that, she now blundered the idea of queen a6. She's not going to resign. She's not going to resign, but again, how do you even recover from such a situation? Because you're feeling like you want to scream inside, really, right? I mean, you're incredibly angry about yourself. Incredibly angry because this is not you. But all of us, we have been there in that situation. It's just not your day. It's just not your day. It's not going your way. I mean, the entire match is not going your way, although it was still level.
Oh, yes. I can remember the most painful loss for me. One of the events, very important event for me, was winning not only tournament, but a bit more. I would not go with the details. And I was half a point ahead of one player and 1 point ahead of 5 people. And then I was with white pieces the last round, and I had lost in 10 moves. I was really lost in 10 moves. I don't know how it's possible to manage to do that, but I had very bad sleep. I had no good preparation. I had no coach with me. It was a lot of tense when you were thinking that you are winning a tournament. We are winning a great possibility of your life. And I lost the game, and all I was sitting there and I was like ashamed to resign, because how can I resign in 1 hour? But you have to do it at some point, and this is the horrific feeling that I can totally understand how Alexandra could feel right now. And also, besides that, she's until the last second before she resigns, she'll try to find any last resource here to find the way out, which will be very tough, because it's not only you who is trying, your opponent is in a better situation situation as can have more material on the board. And yeah, it's obviously a game of two people. But that's the chess, that's the competitive chess, and happens to many of us. Once in a while, or maybe even twice in a life, or many times. But yeah, this is the whole picture. After Queen A6, I'm really struggling to find the move here.
Let's maybe show this line a bit further. Maybe there's even something better. I could attack it. By the way, this knight. There's also this idea. I could just go after Queen B5 and Queen D7. What about this one? And then the C pawn just rolls faster, even faster. So here, maybe Tsatsalashvili will even choose how to win. Like, take it here, C6. So this looks incredibly good. I mean, C7, Bishop D8 ideas, Queen A7, Queen B6. Everything just falls apart. And maybe after Rook E8, White can play Queen B5. So you can't protect this poor soul here. And after taking Queen D7, C6, C7 is still the same. Maybe this is even going to be stronger. But we have Queen A6 on the board. Very shocking turn of events, to be honest. I expected anything but this. I did not expect there might be such a unexpected, very fast turn of events. And also Goryachkina is not spending too much time. She's playing a bit too fast. I mean, she needed to calm down. She didn't do it, and she's now going to pay for it.
Yeah, Queen A4 was another mistake that Artur was talking about. When you make one mistake, and the first mistake was to blunder C5. She played really fast to play next move. Although she played like she thought more than 15 minutes, it was still very fast because you are in a shock situation. And then Queen A4 was another blunder in here. Well, first of all, Black is struggling to find their spot for the rook, but even if there is some safe spot for the rook, there's tons of ideas here, like Knight C4, attacking the bishop, and then C6 is another thing that White can do. Going after Knight on D7, Queen A7 is another thing you can do at this kind of position, and the simplest just to take the bishop and push C6.
Right. I was wondering if there's Rook C7, because this would give Black some time to regroup the pieces after Queen A3, Queen D2, but there's this very annoying Bishop G3.
Bishop G3, yeah.
Maybe E5.
Knight C4, I would just play this move here.
Well, what can I say?
You're trying.
Like Knight C4, you know, maybe try to confuse you with something like Queen D3. Yeah. I guess it's simply losing somehow very quickly. She's gonna seek her best chance now, but it's too late. I think it's already too late. She blew it. She had the chance to think about it when she had time. That's why I felt this decision to continue the game with Queen A4 was too fast, because it's a very common thing when you make a major blunder in the opening, you want to stop. You want to like really calm down. And I would say 5-10 minutes, just don't even think about the game. Just restart the brain, really. There's nothing else to be done. And this Keti reminds me of a very nice sequence. I was once following the World Championship match between Magnus Carlsen against Fabiano Caruana in 2018. One of the games where Magnus was playing really great Sicilian Sveshnikov with black. And he was outplaying Fabiano with a black color. There was a rook king game. Fabi was still holding. And then I was watching it live. I saw Magnus blunder an idea. It's not even like, not even a blunder of the material. It's not even checkmate or something. He just blundered the idea. And you could see the horror in his face that now he's not only playing for the win, he's fighting for the draw. And it was so interesting for me as a professional and as a chess coach, watch how the world champion will react in this situation. And what I was watching, of course, Magnus was incredibly unhappy and showing his emotions, right? Oh my goodness, how did I do this, etc., and everything. Because there's no need to hide it. Opponent knows. He already knows. Yeah. There's no need for poker face. And you know what he did, Keti? He took a 5-minute break. He was ranting himself for 5 minutes. How did I do this? And then you could see there was like a mental switch. Okay. Then he managed to calm down. Now, this is the position that I have. I have to work with this. And then he spent some time, I don't remember, whatever, 15, 20 minutes, maybe even more. And he made an effortless draw.
Wow, yeah.
So that was the world champion right there, right? I mean, so for example, Magnus Carlsen is also incredibly psychologically strong. This is many people sometimes don't understand. So he's not only the best player, he's also incredibly strong. And unfortunately, Goryachkina didn't do that today, right? Again, I felt after this moment after she blundered this idea of c5, and this is the moment again when you need to make the switch, right? In your brain, held a deep breath, restart your thoughts, calm down, spend 30 minutes if you have to. The goal is now the next move is going to be incredibly critical, but it's nerves. She played queen a4 and now she is done.
Yeah, wow, a lot of nerves. Talking about Magnus Carlsen, he has a very good attitude to make chess look as exciting sport. And he's not only one. Take Kasparov, for instance. He's never hiding his emotions. And I have seen him playing against 10-year-old kid at the simultaneous, making the faces like he's losing the game. And you want to see what's going on. Like, is he losing the game? The approach, and he's just calculating how to checkmate. So they know how to advertise and promote chess for the viewers who are watching. And Carlsen is the person for last 10, 15 years, all the cameras all the eyes are on his side. And he knows how to promote the chess. And this is the difference of other chess players too, who are very much focused on their game. And Carlsen wants also to kind of promote. He's really good ambassador, in my opinion, not only good chess player, but Carlsen and Kasparov are two chess players who are creating show for us that we love to see. Who can forget the face of Kasparov when he blundered a piece and almost fell down from the chair? So, and of course, he just stood up and continued to play. But that moment is something that I can recall only two chess players at this level. And there's Ricardo for big apologies.
You told about Kasparov's expressions. I was like, yeah, this blunder against Vichy, right? And then the full YouTube is full of videos how Gary is just very expressive with his feelings, right? But I think chess needs it really. It shows the emotion.
They're creating this show, and this is amazing for all of us, like really amazing. And also with this, you just let the things go. You let all this energy go, and you are done with this like in 5 minutes maximum, or just for a few seconds, and then you are starting to focus. So yeah, okay, let's make up the list for me. So Kasparov, Magnus Carlsen, and Hikaru Nakamura. 3 people are best promoters of the chess because they don't only play the best games, but they also give us the best moments of chess. And we really love. I really love to see it as a viewer and as chess supporter, for sure.
Yeah. So chess has a lot of emotion, of course. Now. Of course, Alexandra is trying to hide it, but she's incredibly unhappy. But again, we're talking about Alexandra, how unhappy she is, but imagine how Tandja is feeling here right now, right? Because this is such an unexpected gift to her. And by now, she has already figured out how the game's continuing. She suspects she might be very close to winning. I think she suspects it, right? She sees these ideas. She says, managed to calculate, and it's a great moment to be for Tandja because maybe she already expects rook c7. And this might be the most trickiest response. And I guess after bishop g3, black is going to lose something. What?
Arturs, sorry, we have a winner of the year, actually. Have you seen this video of Polish player falling from the chair while he's playing?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I know. Yeah. I know. What about it?
Just Chad brought it. And I have heard in interviews that this guy said the next day he was the most famous person in the chess world. And he was actually on BBC front page with the title, "The chess player fell from the chair while playing chess." Some ridiculous articles. They are really good to get all the attention. But it also was a result of a huge blunder. These emotions came from the huge blunder.
Oh, really? I don't know much about it. I know he fell. I don't know why he fell. Out of a shock, I guess. But
Yeah, he was a drawish game, and he blundered checkmate, and he just was like, whoa, and just fell down. You guys, if you have not seen it yet, it's totally worth it to see for sure. So yeah, a lot of emotions come from the blunders too in chess.
Right, and I think that we talked about the poker face. Poker face is something that obviously derives from the game of poker when you don't want to show the emotion to your opponent, right? When you don't want to give him any information, there's something there. It's not like you play Queen A4 and you like grab your, oh my goodness, what did I just do, right? So it's going to give your opponent some inside information. There's something that is wrong with this move. But after your opponent already does this, I think there's no point to hide emotions, right? I mean, he already knows. Rook c7 is on the board, the best chance for Goryachkina. And now the question is, what Tanjong he has prepared?
Arturs, we looked bishop g3, but there's also this rook bishop d8 annoying move. I don't know if it's working, but for sure it's worth it to look for. And the rook is so limited. If you play rook c6, that's the only move I see now is open for this. Queen goes to b7 right away. Or queen goes to b5 even to avoid queen a4 moves. Like anything can here cause huge damage to black.
Okay, how much time Tanjong is going to spend here? Because she has been spending no time almost after the opening. She was up after the opening 1 hour 35. Couple of minutes to play c5 here. Where was this? Yeah, c5. Couple of minutes, 3-4 minutes, maybe 5. She found this idea of bishop a6 extremely quickly, and after rook c7, we can suspect that she already has made up her mind. But then again, you know, she knows this is such a critical moment, the decisive game. She might be winning the match with this game because, again, dear viewers, the match score is level, 1.5 each. Game 4, that's it. If she wins today, that's it. There's no more tiebreaks. She qualifies for the final of the candidates match against Lei Ting Ji. So you might want to invest a little more time, like extra 5 minutes. I know you want to play it immediately, you know, but this is where your coaching starts to come into effect. Be careful. Do not blunder. And actually, I think I already found an idea. After bishop d8, there could be knight b8.
Yeah, that's very interesting idea as well. I just read it out in the chat. So this is not still game over. After queen to a3, rook to c8 or rook to d7. So the point is that the two of white's pieces are hanging at the same time, and you cannot defend it at once, right? Bishop g5 is simply taken.
Yeah, and the game continues. Of course, it's somehow probably winning for white, but it's not incredibly obvious. So she's going to want to check that there's no tricks. So maybe actually bishop g3 is more careful, but bishop g3 allows e5, and now you can see that Tanjong is all about business. She's completely concentrated. I bet she's nervous. She's probably very nervous. She knows this is a critical moment, so you want to make the strongest move here.
Yeah.
But what is it?
Yeah, but to me, Alexandra, what I see her right now with this camera and with the body language that she shows, we don't see that very often because, like, basically she's the player who loses the game very least, and very solid player here we have in this competition indeed, and she kind of have a body language that she just let the things go. I don't even know if she's really like nervous right now, rather than accepting the fact that there are many ideas of white, and she's just waiting. She's just waiting, in my opinion, here at this point. And yeah, the question is, Artur, have you ever thought longer because you don't want to lose the game in 1 hour because it's just so hard for you to admit that you lost in an hour the game, very important game, and just thought longer.
I don't remember such quick losses because I usually spend a lot of time when I have committed first mistake. So it's not like I do the second mistake very quickly. I've done it, I guess, but I don't remember. But having suffered quick losses, in terms of the time, no, I don't remember. In terms of the moves, yeah, sure. I mean, I've been crushed sometimes, you know. Everybody has done it, like in 20 moves, you see, okay, this is a total disaster. Happens very rarely. So at the professional level, to lose in 20 moves, this is very rare. There's definitely a major blunder. But Keti, let's try to figure out how Tanjong Key should continue. I'm looking at this bishop g3. So there's bishop g3, there's bishop d8, there's knight c4. Maybe there's even some other move like queen a3 first, and then either bishop d8 or bishop g3. I don't see immediately like what's the best move. Can we try bishop g3?
Yeah, let's go. Bishop g3 and e5 is the move we were talking about.
Let's check anything else. So this rook is trapped. Rook c6, queen b7 is lights out, I guess, immediately. These pieces are hanging here, so no.
Knight b8, queen a8, it makes no sense because black's two pieces are hanging.
Yeah, so this is not very good. So yeah, after bishop g3, there's just basically one move. Okay, technically there's this move, but now white is up in exchange. This is still hanging, so...
Queen c8, knight.
Queen c8, lights out. Okay, so it's got to be e5. Now what do we do? Now what we do?
Yeah.
Maybe, can we take?
Let's go with the obvious moves and we can figure it out later. Take and queen takes.
And I wanted somehow to push c6 and win a piece hanging, but maybe it's just not so easy. Like c6, rook c6, and some sort of big move, but maybe there is no such a big move.
Queen e7, knight f8, let's see.
Knight f8. Yeah, I was looking at this, win the rook, right? Queen e8 check, etc. But, okay, maybe not like this. So, e5? Maybe it's actually knight c4.
After knight c4, I liked your idea queen to d3 to pin the knight. However, there is bishop b4 too. Let's go with bishop b4 first.
I assume black will be losing quite a lot after knight e5. So if you take it, I have a passed pawn. I'm going to probably win a second pawn. Oh, maybe this is actually giving black some chances. You know, you give up 2 pawns, but you're still alive. Like this.
Arturs, no. It's so tough. Like, at very least here, what I see is queen c8 and c6.
Oh my goodness, this is so strong, yeah.
Yeah, this is one thing. Another thing is bishop d6 out there. Like, white has no really weaknesses here in this position.
So, what was it again? No, wait, let's start it back. Bishop g3, e5.
Knight c4.
Knight c4. Because bishop b4, knight e5 would take it. I think black drops a rook.
Yeah.
And that's it. So, not very good. So, after knight e5, after knight c4, probably you want to play as tricky as possible, like queen d3. Now, knight cannot take it, the queen is under attack, but there's going to be like one shot. I mean, it feels like it.
Queen a4 looks very tempting to me to keep this pressure on bishop a3 and taking control b4 square as well.
And I could take here.
Oi.
Yeah, I mean, there's some tricks, right? No, Dan can still mess this up. There's the mention that she can still mess it up. Yes, yes, she can.
Arturs?
Yeah, but there's
queen
a check.
e8.
Yeah, there's queen e8. Okay. Okay. There's still queen e8, rook d4. Now this is game over. You can't do that.
Maybe queen c5 instead. There was still something.
Once again, bishop g3 here, knight c4, queen d3. You said queen f4.
Queen d4, rook to d1.
But this is so obvious to you. I mean, you can't afford to make a mistake here for white. You can't do this. So, the bishop can... Sorry?
Oh, look at this. After queen d4, rook to d1, and b5 is a suggestion. That happens when our chat is a grandmaster.
Wow.
Some ugly things happen.
Wait. Take, and take.
And, oh, if you take the rook, I take your rook.
So it's still not over, but listen, this doesn't seem so obvious.
Arturs, I take the pawn on c5.
With what?
With rook.
And I just go here. I'm up a rook, but up a piece. But okay, you have 2 pawns. One of them doesn't really count. Maybe this is how the game could actually continue. But let's look for more convincing victory. Is there something more convincing? Maybe bishop g3 is how it's going to continue. What about this bishop d8? So Now there's no e5, obviously. Knight b8. And I just make some smart move again. Like, take, and here. I'm sure that Tan is looking at this line.
Yeah, for sure she's looking of one of these lines. This is pretty much the first one, right?
I guess.
She made a move. She did
make a move. What's the move? Bishop g3. Okay, bishop g3 is on the board. Yeah, it does feel to be the obvious move. I'm not sure why not bishop d8, but okay, bishop g3 is still normal. Now, the big question is what happens after e5. I mean, Goryachkina has got to play e5. There's no choice. There's simply no choice here. Now, she should play it.
She will. I think she would take a little bit more time to understand that this is the only move. If she didn't already calculate it. Players are usually using opponents' time when the opponents are calculating. You can also take that time, and this is move 22, so she will not have any time pressure here in this game, and to take some time makes sense. So e5, and still we don't have conclusion, right? What happens after e5?
I think it's knight c4, unless Tan Zhongyi sees something more direct. So e5 is on the board. Now the big question, what Tan Zhongyi has calculated here? Is it knight c4? Is there something more simpler? Because we're like looking at briefly, we could not exactly figure out immediately. It does feel winning. But what is the cleanest way? Is it some sort of a queen a3? Take it, and now it could be something
Artur,
like...
Chat says knight f3, and I like this idea. We were playing knight c4. And queen d3 was pinning the knight, so how about knight f3?
Oh my goodness, that's actually really simple.
Yeah.
So what? Yeah, why knight c4? Because the bishop on a3 is under attack, right? It makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
It's just such a logical move.
Yeah, so like if you move the bishop or play queen c3, sorry, to guard the bishop, then you just lose the pawn. And Tan Zhongyi made a move. What is that?
Knight f3 is on the board. Look at that. She has 1 hour and 40 minutes on the clock. Like, she has to make to an appointment later. I mean, she's spending no time. Very fast play, very confidently. Just incredible.
Amazing, really. And she plays so simple. She makes everything look so easy that you feel like, okay, I'm gonna play also candidates tournament. I will play simple moves like this and win everything.
Yeah.
But well, she makes it look so simple, really. Knight f3 here, just going after e5 pawn. That's it.
You gotta protect the bishop. I mean, okay, maybe Goryachkina is gonna play. No, I don't believe this. Take it, and suffer this position. Two pawns for the piece, and hope that these pieces are not gonna be able to win the game so quickly. f6. Maybe this is actually how she's gonna continue. Bishop c5, take it, queen c5, and to drag on the game. f6, knight f8, knight e6, try to escape to an endgame, for example. She gives up the queenside pawn. She enters in the game, for example, 4 pawns against white's 3. She has a knight, and white has knight and bishop. Maybe this is the best chance, actually, that she could do. Because if she's going to allow the c pawn run forward, that might as well be the end of the game very quickly. I think she should give up the piece immediately right here.
Yeah, give up the piece for some compensation and hope that things will let it go. And very often players are just, when they have winning position, they are just play a little bit to relax and missing the chances. I don't know what's the Tan Zhongyi's character in that case. Yeah, I also consider that at some point it's better to give up the piece for 2 pawns rather than to give up the pawn, which might sound ridiculous here. But to me, this bishop b4, knight e5, bishop e5 looks like way worse for black.
I don't think black can hold this. So the c pawn is going to decide the fate of the game, and Goryachkina should suspect it. I'm not even sure she's calculated even the lines, because this might be just a very bad psychological moment for her. And when you feel like, it's like in boxing, right? You miss this one direct shot. You're not the same. you're not the same anymore because you missed this one shot and your confidence is completely down and you can't show the level of the game that you are capable. And maybe for Goryachkina, she's maybe making some moves just to keep the game going, but she already missed 2 shots. She missed c5, then she missed queen a6, and it's incredibly difficult to recover. But I would say like this, Keti, if she's going to play bishop b4 after knight e5, the game is going to finish very quickly. If she's going to sacrifice the piece, the game is going to still be ongoing for a while.
Yeah, but it doesn't really change the whole picture that Tan Zhongyi is the one who is pressing here for win, and for Goryachkina, even with the sacrifice of a piece, the best she can get is a draw to hope for the tie breaks, which another day tomorrow, and very likely Tan Zhongyi feels very comfortable with that too. But imagine, Arturs, if you say this position with black, it's kind of like mini victory already. You already feel like, okay, it's my lucky tournament.
She's not going to do it. Yeah, she gives up the piece, but she's not going to save it. I don't believe it. I mean, if Tan Zhongyi messes this up, well, yeah, bishop c5 is played. So there's no choice for Goryachkina. She acknowledges that the damage has been done. Now she can only pray that this is somehow going to hold on her position, and after bishop c5, d takes, most likely, unless there's some better way, like forcing matters, maybe...
Knight e5, I was thinking knight e5 or something like that, which is totally unnecessary to do.
No, it's completely unnecessary. I don't see why Tan Zhongyi should do this, because you miss one shot and that's it, like bishop d6, and black is holding. There's no win. Yeah, there's no win. So no, this is not going to happen. Of course, Tan Zhongyi is going to spend like exactly 35 seconds for the next move, and then she's going to take the bishop. Maybe she's looking for something. If she's not missing, she's going to notice very quickly there's nothing else. There's nothing else. So she's going to take the piece, and this game is still going to continue for a while.
Yeah, that's right. Well, we have here the supporters of both players, which is really nice, guys. And it doesn't matter what is happening in this game. This is not the over of their career, because this is just one of the other tournament. And Artur, in 2 weeks, there's also a very, very nice tournament coming up in Kazakhstan, World Rapid and Blitz, where these 2 players, I believe, gonna participate, and that's another title they can try to grab and try to win. So this is another tournament for them, not the end of their career, just another very good experience that chess players really need, guys. You cannot just start to play chess and win everything in 1, 2, 10, 20 years. You need more and more practice. So just the fact that they have been qualified to the candidates among the top 8 players in the world is already great achievement for them. So yeah, we very much appreciate that you are keeping support to your favorite players, despite the fact of this position is really tough for Alexandra. Yeah, we for sure wish her the best in the game, both of the players in the game. But it's true, whoever wins this match truly deserves to win the Pool B.
Yeah, absolutely, right. And knight c5, actually I slightly missed that, Keti, that she can take the knight. I thought you have to take with the queen. But of course, knight c5 makes perfect sense because f6 is about to follow. Now, I think that Goryachkina wants to escape to an endgame, like trade the queens, trade the rooks, somehow try to trade this a-pawn, and again I said keep the 4 pawns and the king set against white's 3. Most likely the a-pawn will go at some point and then, build a brick wall and really hope for the best. But normally, let's just call it what it is. White is winning. White should be technically winning. That's what it is, and
I wonder what the engine gives, like how much the engine gives in this position. Is it
+3? I don't know, +2.5 maybe. I'm not really sure, but it's just quite clear there's not enough compensation for black for the sacrifice material. So I think something like queen b5, f6 could follow. Maybe think about queen e8 check here, some sort of a knight e4 to activate the knight, threat with knight e6. But again, it drops the pawn on a2. Yeah, maybe this is not so obvious, really. So I was hoping to activate the knight to go for some checkmate ideas, but okay, the pawn a2 is gone. So still work is still required for Tsatsalashvili.
Yeah, that's true. That's true indeed. So Arturs, after f6 that you have to play, right, at some point. Let's make a next move, like queen b5, f6. At this point, the pawn on a2 is hanging, so obviously we don't want to lose that pawn. However, we can have very quick attack on the king side. So let's try to make this moves like h4, h5, knight f4, knight h4, knight g6 kind of ideas.
Isn't that a bit slow?
It takes like 1, 2, 3 moves, including queen e8. It's 4 moves. So yeah.
Yeah, and I could play take it, h5. I could play here, queen
Maybe
g4.
queen f7 even.
Yeah. Oh yeah, queen f7. No, I think no. Queen a3 is played. I guess the idea is to play rook c1 to activate the rook. f6 should be played by Goryachkina very quickly, because if the e5 pawn falls, that's it. Maybe she's seeking some chance to give up the e pawn for the a pawn, like enter some
this
game.
is so smart, Arturs. After f6, she wants to play knight to d4. Your idea, which is suggested earlier, but a2 pawn is not hanging anymore. So when the queen goes, it depends where the queen goes, but you might have knight b3 idea to trade the knight on c5.
It does make sense if I play knight e4.
Knight e4.
Oh, wait, there's rook c1 somewhere.
Yeah, probably even here. I don't think.
Although knight c3. Wait, what if we play a bit simpler? Let's say f6, I start with rook c1. And now knight e4 maybe is an idea later.
Okay.
So you put the queen somewhere on e4. And I do the same idea, maybe not as tricky as knight e4, and some sort of knight e2, knight b3. Let's say queen e5.
Knight on c5 is kind of stopping white's place. So to trade this knight will be very good choice. Is it knight b3 move here?
Oh, I missed something, yeah? Yeah, I missed the back rank.
On the back rank is problems here for white. So it means that we have to include h4 or h3 at some point.
Yeah. h3, I guess. Maybe h4. f6, by the way, is played as well. Quite impressed, Keti, by the pace of Tan. 1 hour and 10 minutes. I imagine if I would have this position, I would have something like 45 minutes on the clock. Not 1 hour and 10 minutes. Extremely fast. So...
That's very interesting. That's very interesting how she trained to be so fast in the classical game.
I think what white wants is to do something with these pieces on f3 and g3 because they're not doing a thing. You need to activate them. Now, the bishop on g3 is stuck. Poor guy. I mean, he's looking at the pawn in e5, not on h4. There's nothing to be done. So the only escape route, I guess, is either f4 or f3, bishop f2. But the knight is there. So part of white's plan might be to trade the knight for the other knight, something like knight e2, knight b3.
Ooh, the actual evaluation from the engine is plus 1.6 only, which is the best decision from Goryachkina to go to this kind of position because, like, it's not really losing.
So bishop g3, you're saying, was not the most cleanest way, but it looks the most human way.
Yeah.
Maybe there was something more direct, like this bishop d8.
I really want to check it because, like,
we need to know.
We need to know. Yeah,
we need to know.
G3.
Let's ask the Silicon Beast. What's it saying?
Okay, 3 candidate moves. Artur, bishop d8 is the first choice. Knight c4 is the second choice, and bishop g3 is the third choice. So after bishop to d8, knight to b8, and queen a3, rook to c8, and now white just takes the pawn on a7, and after rook to d8, queen b6, rook is hanging, rook c8, and now white plays queen b7. I think this is the most accurate move. And when rook goes on f8 to be well guarded and defended, knight to b3 is the move white plays here, and white has a huge advantage.
Yeah, but is it not super obvious, right? How can you choose this over having an extra piece? Is there something a bit more direct? Because bishop d8, knight b, this we saw. Yeah, this is also a line I saw from afar. I saw also the pawn in a7 is under attack, but I just wasn't sure if that's the cleanest.
But Artur, this is extra pawn, 2 pawns, actually 1 pawn, but it's very clean to me that this is just c67 is coming.
Wait,
they would just drop the pawn, yeah.
Yeah, so you still need to be careful.
Well then, first of all, we can play rook to c1 or h3, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, maybe knight e7, c6, c7. Yeah, I guess it's winning. Yeah. You're right.
This is something that you don't need to solve too much. You have to solve your back rank. You have to just put the pieces together to push the pawn. And what we have right now in the position, Tanjongi has a great issue to solve, the bishop on g3.
So maybe she did rush slightly with this bishop g3. I don't think it really lets the victory go, but she might regret this a little bit. A moment later, right? Because she was having something like 1 hour and 50 minutes on the clock. She's playing extremely fast, but I understand her, right? She's full with adrenaline and she thinks she sees the victory. Maybe she slightly underestimated this piece sacrifice. She thought it's going to be a lot easier, and now that it's actually on the board, you start to think, well, it's not so easy, actually. There's some chances. Yeah. So let's not write down Goryachkina's chances just yet. She is objectively losing. I think she is losing, but there is still a chance.
Yeah, it is. Shall we go back once again and take a look at the third candidate move, which we were also considering to play, and we can see what our engine friends suggest there.
Knight c4?
At this point, yeah, bishop d8 we saw, that's the position we have in the end with extra pawn. And there's a knight c4 we were considering here. And if this is the moment where black has to give up the piece, if queen goes on d3, here engine says bishop d8 is the one.
Oh, this sort of the moves.
Yeah, after knight to b8, you play queen a3.
Yeah, the queen is ganging.
Yeah.
So that's the difference.
Yeah.
Oh, you can easily miss this. So is this like the best line? Knight c4?
This is, hold on, I'm going to tell you right away.
It's just an extra piece.
Out of these 3 moves, the least favorite is obviously bishop g3. According to the engine, the most favorite is bishop to d8, that position.
And knight c4, what black can do?
After knight c4, here engine says like go for knight c5 and sacrifice the piece.
The same, yeah. Take, but here white's pieces are slightly more active, kind of. Again, tricky, tricky to understand what's the difference.
But the engine is not going to this line, Arthur. No? But this is a really not human move, queen to b5 here.
Here?
Yeah.
I guess the bishop a3 is under attack. I don't know. I mean,
yeah, queen b5 is such a funny move. You take control b4 square.
Wow.
And knight wants to take on a3. You don't take with the right away.
And if I go something like this?
Bishop b4?
Yeah, queen b4, knight e3.
The engine says bishop g3 is way to go.
Bishop g3, yeah.
Rook and knight.
Okay, this is never going to happen because you're just not looking at lines like this. You see you're winning a piece, you're taking a piece. And that is the difference between a human being and an engine, right? I mean, you're just not going there. Yeah. That's why I guess...
We had to see this. We had to definitely see to have a whole picture. And after the end of the game, Tanjongi will also take a look at this line and she'll like, oh no, I was winning this way. It was so simple.
Of course. So she did a human choice by grabbing the piece right away. Maybe it was not the best. The Goryachkina has managed to still keep the game going. Again, let's not write down her chances. She might realize maybe the chances for the saving of the game are actually not so bad, and she's still in the game. Still in the game. So there's no obvious way for white to crash through immediately. There's no easy, obvious way for white to activate the pieces, so it's gonna take time. And also, the longer the game continues, the better chances for Goryachkina to save the game.
That's true. That's true. As the players are taking here some time and Tanjongi has this issue to be solved with the bishop on g3, let's take this opportunity and shout out to one of the sponsors of the event. This is Motiva Establishment Lab, who is a partner of FIDE, and they have supported so far several women's tournaments, starting with FIDE Women's World Team Chess Championship, FIDE Women's Candidate Tournament, FIDE Women's Rapid and Blitz Championship, which will happen in the end of this year. And in the future, they will also support FIDE Women's World Championship match. Motiva is a global medical technology company, and they started the partnership, I think, 1 year ago with chess. And so far, they have been supporting chess at the high level, women's chess more specifically, and for the first time we have the biggest prize fund for the candidates tournament for a woman. So this is our playing venue, just 2 players in the playing hall. This is the last round of the Pool B. Today we're gonna know who will qualify to the candidates tournament finals, where they will face Lei Tingzhi. But if some miraculous things happen in this game and Alexandra Goryachkina saves the game, we're going to have the tiebreak tomorrow, which I really personally hope to have. I really want to see how Goryachkina is playing tiebreaks and the rapid, and we have already witnessed great play of Tanjongi, so that could be another day of joy and very good quality of chess. But still, this is on, and we cannot really predict here, is Tanjongi going to win, or it can be also just end in a draw.
Right, and I also think this is a perfect moment for us to take a break. The first break of today, because there's going to be now a slower pace. Tanjongi realizes that perhaps she should have spent a little bit more time in that position, but okay, she has made her decision. Now, this is not going to be a very trivial win. You need to show still quite a bit of technique, and it is possible to misplay this. Everybody has done it at some point. So you still need to work on this. And while here Tanjongi is working on her next move, maybe we could go into a break for something like a 5 or 10 minutes, and then come back and talk about how Tanjongi is going to capitalize on her piece advantage, because she has an extra piece for 2 pawns, and talk about what might be Goryachkina's best chances to save the game.
Yeah, we're taking now the break, guys, and we'll be back shortly. So see you soon. Welcome back, everyone. This is FIDE Women's Candidate Tournament 2022 Pool B final game in the classical format, and we have already some events happening in this game that White got a piece for 2 pawns, and we need to see what is happening right now, how Tanjongi is going to improve the position, or if maybe Goryachkina can hold the game and make a draw to go to the tiebreaks tomorrow. Today we are together with you guys as the other days, Arturs and Keti, and we are going to see rest of the moves that happened while we were on the break.
Right, some moves definitely have been played, and we are going to talk about how White can try to convert this to the victory. After we left it, I think it was Queen a3 f6. We felt that here Tanjongi is going to spend some time, and we were right. She did play rook c1, essentially pinning the knight on c5, the rook on c7, so queen g6. Yeah, I'm not really sure what's more accurate. Is it queen e4, is it queen e5, is it queen g6, but it's quite clear. The black queen needs to go away. And now knight h4 was a bit surprising move, because after knight h4, White doesn't go the intended route knight e2, knight b3, which we thought, maybe even knight d4. But the idea here is to rearrange the knight to f5, e3, I guess, and also free up the escape route for the bishop, which is slightly stuck on g3 with f3 and bishop f2. And after knight h4, queen f7, now Tanjongi is thinking here, I guess she's trying to figure out what happens after knight f5. And no, she did play rook d1, not knight f5.
She goes to the open file so far and controls the D file. F3, bishop f2, or 95, 93, 95 still is in the thoughts of White here. And in fact, maybe this knight, rook to d1, helps Knight to get on d5 with f5, e3, and then on d5.
Right, and let's talk a bit about this position. So, what White should do according to the best practices in chess, Keti? This is the position which we call converting material advantage. And it is a big topic, obviously, in chess, and many players have failed to convert their material advantage. White's piece for 2 pawns is quite obvious that for black it's not enough. And the theory goes like this. You want to simplify things. For example, I think it was Dvoretsky's Endgame Manual. I really love quoting this amazing book because Mark Dvoretsky was, unfortunately, he passed away already, a renowned expert in endgames. And one of the rules that I really like in his Endgame Manual, he said, the stronger side, meaning the one who has material advantage, he wants to trade pieces. Why? Because let's say we remove the knights from the board, the queens from the board, the rooks from the board. What happens? The bishop on g3 remains the only piece, except of the king, of course, and it's going to be much easier to get these pawns at the queen side. For black, it's different. And again, Mark Dvoretsky says, for the weaker side, it's important to trade pawns. So that is the general strategy. White's going to try to trade pieces. Black is going to try to trade pawns. For example, black wants to trade these pawns, these 3 pawns, and then White is simply not having any pawns on the board and maybe enter a position where black has rook, White has rook and bishop, but it's not a win.
Yeah, that's right. That's very good a quote or just a sentence to remember when you have few minutes on the clock. If you're a defender, just try to trade the pawns. And why to trade the pawns? Because your opponent will not have a choice to promote those pawns to the other queen or rook or whatever other piece. And when you are the side who has extra piece or extra material, why you are exchanging pieces? Because there will be less counter play from your opponent, and it will be a risk-free position. It will be only you in the game. You will make a choices. So yeah, that's a very good thing to remember. That's going to save some time. And according to that, White might just try to maybe try the bishop for the knight or knight for the knight. And that's quite obvious now. F3, bishop f2 wants right away to trade the bishop and the knight. And I would not be surprised if first Tanjongi will try to get this knight on d5 centralized and then trade the bishop for the knight.
This definitely makes sense. And now Goryachkina has to understand how she should continue. Of course, she knows all of this. And she's thinking, how do I trade this pawn on a2? She's all thinking about trading the pawns. I don't think there's any real counterplay, like, going super aggressive. Of course, you could that, like knight e4, knight c3, try to go after the pawn on a2. But still, the logic says white's extra piece is gonna really matter in the end. So maybe she's looking for some controlled trades. For example, let's say trade queens, push aggressively those queenside pawns, trade this a pawn, maybe lose the queenside pawn in the process, but again, enter an endgame where she has 4 pawns, where white has 3 pawns, but they're on the same side. Black has a knight, and white has, let's say, a bishop and a knight. And then try to hold on. And again, at any given opportunity, trade 1 more pawn, because the less pawns on the board, the greater the chances for Goryachkina to save the game. And the same applies also for Tanjongi. She is not going to trade the pawns unless it's necessary.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree. I cannot see f4 coming here for white to trade the pawns and improve the bishop's position rather than f3. It makes more sense, obviously, for white not to weaken the pawn, not to trade the pawn, keep as much pieces, by the pieces, I meant the pawns on the king side, as possible. Besides that, Artur, this rook d1 creates the threat on the back rank, and now if it's white move, white will give a check. Rook to d8, force this king to go on the 7th rank, and look at this, like black is playing on the board, not on the 8 ranks, but on the 7th ranks only. All these pieces are starting from 7 and up. So it means that white is getting some space advantage on the back rank, and when the king is on h7, there will be some kind of unpleasant checks, like queen to f3, queen to f5, or queen b2, queen c2, this kind of idea. So by this rook d2, here Tanjongi says, like, okay, if you want to fight for the file, either you play rook to c8, which is a bit passive, a7 pawn will not be hanging anymore by the rook, and then knight f5 will be even more powerful move for me, because knight d6 is a fork. If you play rook to d7 and trade the rooks, this is good for me because I want to trade the pieces. And how else you're going to control d8 square? If you play knight d6, I'm happy because you open up the diagonal for my queen. Queen d6 makes a lot of sense. Knight also stops queen to attack on a2 pawn. And yeah, knight f5 makes a lot of sense to stop also knight d4 happening. So if queen goes on e7 or f8, controls d8 square in that case, now we have knight g6 move, knight f5 move comes with all this tempo. And more I'm naming all these ideas from black, it's not working, better I like this rook d1 move.
Yeah, and also the trick, of course, is not to miss some back rank trick. So, for example, after knight f5, you need to watch out for some unexpected jumps for the knight, because your first rank is not really so well defended. There could be something wrong with this. So rook d1 is just a secure move, just in case. Control the d3 square, remove the rook from the c file, because most likely the rook trade is going to happen. And I think that Goryachkina here has to figure out what to do with this knight on h4. Should she play g6 or not? Because if white is allowed to put the knight on e3, I think this is a major improvement. And if black hasn't shown anything during this time, this knight activated on d5 with as few pieces on the board, for example, trade the rooks, trade the queens, put the knight on d5, this already is looking very, very close to be a victory. So perhaps she's choosing between this g6, trying to imprison the knight, but this is such a responsible move because now it also weakens the king and the pawns around it.
Yeah, that's right. I agree with this. Our chat asks the question, how about knight f5, bishop h4, and queen to g3, which means that white focus on the king side mainly and attacks the king. Do you think, Artur, it can cause
But black needs to make a move first, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, obviously.
Yeah, of course, knight f5, I think that's the plan, to play knight f5. It's just the question is, what black is going to do against it? Is she going to try to stop it? She could play, by the way, queen e6. Mm-hmm. She could play g6. She could play rook d7 and capture with a queen, stopping this knight f5. And I think that she would love the knight to go back. on f3. And also there was a very nice mention in the chat, which maybe I didn't explain in detail. White also, let me just show the idea, which is not very correct. I just want to show the idea. If you activate this bishop here with f3, bishop f2, you also leave the knight on h4 trapped. So make sure you don't blunder something like g5. And it can't go to f5. And this is also perhaps not a good choice for white to activate the bishop before the knight. So I think normally she wants to activate the knight and only then the bishop. Rook d7 is played.
Yeah, rook d7 seems like the move to be played, because otherwise all these threats that knight f5, knight g6 could create was really big. And now h3, just to make sure that there is no checkmate on the back rank, and king has h2 square to play. Arturs f3 was not any help for white, because after queen d1, bishop e1, queen e1 was a checkmate. So there was, in fact, a horrible blunder here. So h3 was the safest move to be played. And let's take a look at this position, what Alexandra Goryachkina can play.
I think this is a good choice, because white has not forgotten about this knight. I think she wants to play queen f3, knight f5, because this knight is not going back. I don't think so. Why would you go knight h4 and then go back on f3? So she still wants to play knight f5, and in order for that to happen, the queen also needs to be included. So maybe Goryachkina could respond with something aggressive like g5. So, I mean, the rooks are off the board. The king's safety perhaps is not really so important. And after knight f3, I mean, we are back basically to square one, because these pieces are not yet very active. But the problem is black could have difficulties to prove that she gained something out of this. Maybe, you know, try to centralize pieces.
How about queen d1 check here, king h2 and e4? Because knight is quite limited. I can see that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 squares are taken. Queen is also quite limited on a3, has not much of the checks. Knight g1, and look at this, g3, g1, king h2, like stuck together. And now if black can find a way for this knight to get closer, or something like f5, f4.
I don't know. I definitely appreciate it looks incredibly logical, but also there's the other side of the coin. By playing too aggressively, you're opening your position. For example, Oslo bishop e8. The king is not perfectly safe against various checks on a7. I like the idea, but I'm looking also from the perspective of Goryachkina. She sees probably these ideas, but she needs to understand if her desperate need to create a counterplay, it's not going to backfire against herself. Because again, the big picture, is it really counterplay, or is it trading those pawns? So what is it really?
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah,
she needs
a good thing to ask yourself.
She needs to figure that out. I mean, okay. I mean, of course, she would want to go for a very nice counterattack, but white is still up a piece, and now the bishop on g3 is open. White is not going to play f3, and maybe by trying to be very active, actually her actions are going to be her undoing. Yeah. So that's why, again, chess is so tricky, and it's not
however,
an obvious
I really
choice.
like this position with black to be knight restricted so much on g1. And Arturs, can we just one more time go to that? I like this g5 idea that you suggested here. So knight to f3, give a check, king h2, e4, knight goes on g1, and now let's say something like a5. To be played. And there can be some ideas, Artur, when I would be maybe happy to trade the queen d3 and to create a pass pawn on d3 and then create another pass pawn on the b file. I knew you would go there. So here's a trap. Queen to d7, attacking the bishop. And if you take the pawn on b6, queen d6 wins the piece.
Nice trick. Nice trick. Yeah. So I didn't see that immediately. And if I activate my pieces, something like queen g3, queen d6, there's a good chance we might see something like this. There is a good chance, because this knight on g1 indeed is out of the play, but now the bishop is out of the cage.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not the a5. Again, let's check this. g5, knight f3, queen d1 check, push away the king further from the queen side. That makes sense. Maybe here.
a5 here.
Maybe this is not necessary, because I like the way pieces the white pieces are kind of stuck here at the king side. e4, very tempting, but it comes at a cost. Yeah, a5. Let's check this.
I like a5, yeah. To keep this piece still restricted, e4 can be some move you can play next. White queen is also a little bit limited here, like e3, c3 are those squares. b2 is another square.
That's the thing. I mean, now your pawn on b6 is going to be under attack. So perhaps... Yeah, but then if you go back, I start to improve my pieces, knight e2, knight c4, f3, bishop f2, and that's why Goryachkina is not sure. Because again, you play g5, you push forward aggressively your pawns, you make a lot of weaknesses. It's like you say A, then you say B, you say D, C, and D, and then in the end you realize your actions were your undoing, really. So are you going to do this, or still concentrate on the big picture, think about which pieces need to be traded? And how do I trade this pawn on a2? I think this pawn on a2 needs to be gone in Goryachkina's plan in order to try to survive.
Okay, yeah, and for that we need to somehow start to push the pawns on the side. There is a pawn push.
e4 immediately.
E4.
Wow.
Ooh, look at this. You want to drop the knight on h4. Knight is quite limited. g5 can be a move to be played.
That is interesting because this is change order of the move so that there's no knight f3. But now there's knight g6. Okay, so she is going for an active defense, which is probably the right choice, but I think she's just guessing, really. She's hoping. You know the problem? If she's going to sit and wait and do nothing, maybe White will have enough time to rearrange the pieces. Like, again, this knight f5, knight e3, f3, bishop f2, slowly trade the pieces, and she's gonna lose in a slow motion. So she's at least trying to do something, you know?
Yeah, I kind of have a feeling that you should do, like, if you wait White will get this bishop at a better place, and it will be slowly but surely gonna outplay. Artur, I'm thinking now, after e4, if you played knight g6 right away, you might face king to f7, knight is hanging, and after knight f4, you have g5. And if knight goes on e2, queen d1 check. If knight goes on h5, still queen d1 check, and you're just getting back this piece. And the position can get really ugly for White if Black manages to drop the knight.
Now, how do you deal with the g5 threat then?
Yeah, and after knight g6, king f7, if you get this knight back on h4, you're gonna drop the knight with g5 in that case.
There's a mention in the chat. Engine suggests queen b2.
Queen b2.
Queen b2, that wouldn't be my top choice. But I understand the idea. Maybe Tanjong Ki could come up to it. But the reason is what? She's controlling the f6 square. After g5, she would sacrifice the piece back. And because of the weakened black king, like bishop h4, she would claim that she's still winning. But wait, is this obvious even? Is this even winning? I mean, I'm not sure.
King
How is this even winning?
Or so, yeah, or even queen g7.
So, okay, maybe I would see instead of like queen b2, in the worst case, I can take on f6, take on h6, sacrifice the piece back, but... Wait, now Goryachkina started to have some chances.
True, that's true. I'm so... I have no connection between the White's pieces. Queen is on a3, quite limited. Knight on h4, bishop now on g3 is finally open, but there is a serious threat. So White needs to find this powerful move which puts pieces together.
Can I do this, Keti?
Bishop here.
Now, I'm going to sacrifice a piece. After g5, I want to take on a7. With pretty much the same idea, right? I'm sacrificing the piece.
Can I? No.
What?
No.
Why not? I just want to show the idea.
Oh, sure. Yeah, go ahead.
Show the idea that maybe this is winning, maybe it's not. The pawn on h4 is an easy target, but I have an outside pass pawn.
Yeah, for sure. But Black should not give up this a pawn, I guess. So my idea was to take on h4 right away and keep this queen on d7. So if you take my queen, I'll take with the knight, and my pawn is guarded.
And if I take
here
it still feels good chances for White. But it's not as obvious, really, as it was before, where White was. Remember having this great position after Goryachkina made 2 mistakes in a row in the opening, and Tanjong, he had to choose like a most direct way to win this. This is work, a lot of work. Maybe it's already bordering with some drawing chances.
Yeah, I got your point. This is very tempting here to go to this line, and White has to make up this mind that it's time to give up the piece and go for pawns. But after bishop to b8, Arturs, can I play a 5?
And now I want to play g4. That was my entire point. I free up the g file to play g4 and escape knight f5.
Okay, makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, now these 3 pawns are holding your 4 pawns. So actually, I think that if bishop b8 indeed is played, g5 seems to be quite critical. And I agree with you're saying, maybe indeed Black doesn't have to take on a7. Maybe she can give a check on b1 first. Well, let's say give a check, avoid a queen trade. Now snatch this guy here, take it, and then show a very long defense. But now it's material equality, right?
Yeah, that's right. Although the pawns are quite loose on the king side. And for now, I don't really see how Black is going to hold it together. There's no check on this diagonal. Bishop is really strong. How about if we start some kind of counterplay? And also, queen knight d3 is not really working, Arturs, because I can give queen e8 check and queen e4 to take that pawn.
I'm sorry,
queen
here?
d5.
Yeah, queen d5 is still a move.
Queen d5. Okay, and can I take the pawn on f6 in that case?
Yeah, I think you can. Yeah.
And the point is that bishop e5 is very strong next move.
Okay, dear viewers, maybe you're slightly confused why we are immediately offering a piece sacrifice back, but I just don't see a way how she can keep it. Because again, check this out. I mean, knight g6, king f7, Keti, he had this very beautiful idea. But this is just dropping the knight, right? Knight f4, g5. There you go. Just drops the knight.
Yeah.
You could, of course, repeat the position. Knight h8, king g8, knight g6. This is never going to happen because Tanjong is never going to let it go just like that with no fight, having a piece up. So g5 is unstoppable threat.
Yeah, that's right. So bishop b8 looks very, very nice to me so far.
What else? Okay, maybe there's queen b2, but the problem with queen b2, you don't force anything. I could still play king f7. What do you do next? And now g5 is even a stronger threat because there's no knight g6. And okay, wait, there's queen e2. Oh, and now after g5, you have queen h5 check. Okay, I got it. Yeah. And after queen d5, I guess Black stops it. But g5 is still not a threat, and essentially nothing changes. And White, I guess, still is going to be time to play bishop b8 and g4. I got it. That's why Engine says queen b2. I mean, somebody said in the chat that queen b2 is a move. But again, I mean, look at this position. Keti, after g5, queen f6. Take. Wait, bishop e5 could be very strong. Oh my goodness. Not take the pawn on h4, but bishop e5.
Oof. Queen g6 is a serious threat now. Queen g6, bishop d6, next move.
Yeah, let's show it. Let's show it. Check. And Black loses a queen. Very nice.
Yeah, bishop e5 is very, very powerful.
You can miss this. You can miss this queen b2 move. I mean, the queen b2, queen e2. You can easily miss this. And especially if you see bishop b8 under your horizon. I don't know. I don't know what I would do. Keti, I would probably try to keep the knight. Because I'm not sure if that position in the end is winning. I would see like, okay, I mean, everything fails. I can go bishop b8, give up the piece for 2 pawns. I have excellent chances. But if I can, I would probably try to keep this knight alive. And queen b2 might be one way. And the other way could be maybe... queen c3 is not as good because now you have no threat to give a check on h5.
No, queen e2 was, I think...
So queen b2 is strictly the move, to stop g5.
But also, Arturs, after queen b2, queen e2, you want to play f3 next move.
Right.
I think we can afford 1 pawn trade because the 4 pawn is quite strong.
Sir. I think also knight g6, knight f4 is in the cards because now the queen on b2 protects the knight on e2, right?
Or queen g4, knight f5 idea, stuff like this. So this is really powerful queen b2 idea. But you need
can miss
to
it.
find this bishop e5 in the end. Otherwise, it's not so clear if you don't have this bishop e7, bishop e5.
But you know why it's difficult to find it? Because your attention should be taken elsewhere. You're thinking, how do I escape from the knight from h4? Queen b2, you don't escape with the knight. You sacrifice it. And when you're thinking in terms of the sacrificing, you're thinking about bishop b8. That's why queen b2 simply could not jump under your radar. And if somebody would walk past Anžaki like queen b2, yeah, pay attention to queen b2, then it's like, okay, I get it, right? But this process to see queen b2 first, it could be really tough. It could be really tough to understand that you have to attack the pawn on f6. So that's why I think there is a greater chance, Keti, we might actually see bishop b8 on the board than Anžaki finding this very precise queen b2 apparently.
Yeah, our chat says, I saw bishop e5, surely the gridmasters would not miss it. It's very complex, guys. It's very complex. First of all, we have the board, which pieces comes and goes back, and they cannot do that. And also we have zero stress right now, sitting here comfortably in the chairs, and nothing is really changing for us after this game. For them, it's a lot of tension, and the stress can play a big role. And to go back to the chess part, this at least we spotted 3 moves that white can play: bishop e8, knight g6, queen to b2, and surely there are more moves, more candidate moves that Anžaki is right now looking at. So to go through all of this, queen b2 is not the move you see right away. I think knight g6 is the first move. Second obvious move for me is bishop b8. Queen b2 is the least candidate move for me, because then when you see that nothing really works, you are looking for another thing. And while you are calculating so much, you can miss this kind of details. Like, we don't say that they cannot see, but there is a chance that in the calculation, it would be stopped after some point, before reaching bishop e5 point.
I think it's really simple, Keti. Either you see it, either you don't, right? And people have missed...
Don't need much philosophy.
Yeah, I mean, people have missed a lot easier moves, really. So queen b2 is a very, very smart move, and you can easily miss it, especially since bishop b8 is perhaps your top choice how to sacrifice a piece. Yeah. Okay, let's maybe continue this line once again. So maybe we jumped it very quickly. Queen b2, g5, take it. Here, bishop e5. I see there's a suggestion in the chat. It's not clear what happens after king h7. I think that looks like a victory here. Check. Here, and some sort of a check. After king h5, I think you have to do some puzzle studies. Really seek some sort of a mate here. Where it is, I don't really know. Some g4 ideas at some point. How? I don't know. But I wanted to show this point. After king f5, there could be some quiet retreat, bishop c3, with the queen g4 trap.
Beautiful.
Yeah, if that is winning. But again, I mean, black can still play h5. And maybe black still lives. So, could be still dramatic. Let's not write again down Goryachkina's chances, because Anžaki is still a human being and she might have some regrets. She's not a machine. She might have some regrets by slightly rushing this, which appeared to be completely winning position. Again, we go back right at the opening. This very powerful idea, c5. She found the sequence of queen a6 very quickly, and here she had several choices, and she chose it in something like, what was it, 5 minutes or 10 minutes. Maybe that was a mistake.
She played
very fast. So she saw that most likely she's winning a piece. She thought, okay, it should be like a not very difficult technique. But once she get there, she realized that this position is not as easy as she would have thought. So she didn't essentially perhaps blunder any lines, but misevaluated how easy it's going to be.
Yeah, well, Also, there is a chance that she's still very much happy with this position and just sees all this like moves. Knight now is under attack, so if she plays bishop b8, I think that still keeps white some chances to play for a win. And now we're approaching the time control situations, right? It's move 30. They have to make another 10 moves in this position, and Goryachkina has 20 minutes for that. Tanjongi has 37. So I don't really think, Artur, that time can affect this game at all.
Probably not. And I'm quite confident she's going to play bishop b8. Because that's the one where she controls things, right? It's more forcing, it's more human. And the big threat is positional threat of g4. So once again, after g5, queen a7. Yeah, I can't tell if black should trade the queens or not. Let's say, once again, check this. Takes. I guess you have to take this knight, otherwise it escapes. Take it. Let's say, knight d7. Bishop d4, king f7. And maybe she's looking at this and trying to understand if she's not by accident entering a drawing endgame. Something like this.
Is this really drawing?
No, it's winning. I checked very quickly. I realized the king is not in the square to stop the pawn. Because if the king was, I mean, maybe there's some chances.
Yeah, but there is also knight b8 move, maybe instead of king d6. Although this keeps the knight out of the game, and white now can start to bring the king, like king.
Yeah, this could be king f1, king e2, attack this pawn, eat this pawn. Could be somehow technically winning. And I think she's looking for this sort of clarity here. So once again, bishop b8. g5 seems to be necessary. Take on a7. Now perhaps g takes on h4. Take on b6. This pawn on h4 most likely will be gone as well. And white's plan is pretty easy. Push the a-pawn. So, by the way, the pawn on f6 is under attack as well, as we discussed. So whatever black is supposed to do here, I don't know. Everything is sort of loose, right? I mean, undefended.
Yeah, our chat says, like, why did she play knight h4 to begin with? And that's something that draws me back and asks the same question, like, really, why knight h4? There's for sure other moves here, and we were suggesting knight d2, knight b3, one option. Knight, if it goes to e3, it can also go e1, c2, and e3 that way.
This looked more human, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, knight h4, I guess she saw there's this weakness on f5, and she not only wanted to activate the knight, she wanted to do it with style. And it just backfired. I guess she completely missed the idea of e4. But to be honest, Keti, we discussed this from this order most. g5, here, here, here. Even this is looking rather interesting for black. And white's pieces are not really doing much. So now after e4, I think she's going to have to sacrifice this piece. I think so. I mean, unless she picks up this queen b2 and then Goryachkina is then going to play g5.
I cannot wait to see the next move of Tanjongi. What it can be. It can be those three moves that we have seen. It can be another move. That's for sure the most intrigue situation. Well, the moves like f4 is not really stopping black to play g5. g5 will be anyway played. And yeah, obviously f4 is not the move that you can go very deep in and take too much of your time. So you say that bishop b8 might be the choice. Oh,
she's reaching for it. Yeah, she's going to touch the bishop. There you go.
Oh,
watch
no,
this.
She's not sure.
No. She's going to do it. Yep,
yeah.
Told you.
There we go. She goes
I like
to
it.
bishop b8.
I'm not sure what the engine is saying. I like it. It's a practical choice. Given the circumstances that how she played it out, and since g4 is a positional threat, I don't see Goryachkina allowing this, so g5 should be fired out pretty quickly. I'm not sure how Goryachkina herself feels about bishop e8. She might be not happy to see that, because she definitely expected that.
Apologies.
Yeah, bless you.
Thank you.
All right, so we expect g5 on the board. And then the knight is trapped. 5, you don't really want to play knight g6 because you just give up this knight for nothing really. Black is simply going to play either immediately or a move later, king g7 and just pick up the knight and say thank you. So it's not going to happen. g5 should be played here.
And after g5, what happens if white takes the a7 pawn with the bishop and then tries to get b6 pawn and keep the queens on the board? What's the difference there and who benefits out of that?
Oh, actually, I didn't even see that. That makes perfect sense. White take with the queen.
And now, because of the trap that we showed earlier.
Oh, wait, there could be some checks. Queen d6 check. That's why. Yeah. we saw this. Very nice, by the way. You can miss it. Whoops.
Yeah. And queen d6.
And so it's Goryachkina who qualifies. Imagine that.
That's going to be shocking. That's going to be shocking for sure for Tanzhangi.
Unfortunately, once we already called it this Lagnos blunder in the tiebreak against Tanzhangi. But okay, this is a classical game, so Tanzhangi shouldn't blunder this. I guess queen a7 then is necessary. Okay, to be honest, I didn't see bishop a7, so but it makes sense. Yeah.
Well. Waiting for Goryachkina to make her choice now. g5 we consider to be the move. If not, if black saves the a pawn, then g4, knight a5 comes with all the strengths. Artur, let's take a look while she's taking some time. After a5 and g4, is there some kind of checks? Like queen to d1, king goes on g2, and then knight to d3, let's say.
Okay, I'm going to play king h2 then, so that I don't miss any checks on e1, just in case.
Yeah, knight d3, let's say.
And I could activate my pieces. Let's say queen d6. It doesn't feel right from the black's perspective, because all of white's pieces are active. Look at knight f5, checkmate ideas, the king is alone. The same applies, of course, for the white king, but maybe queen f1.
Can I go for f2 pawn here in this endgame? Knight to f2.
Oh, I even missed that.
That's
but
fine,
I guess
because,
it's a good blunder, yeah? It's a good blunder, yeah.
Bishop c7, knight to c3. It's interesting what is happening here, like bishop b6.
And black might still have some chances. Oh, okay, this pawn is gone, but h5, trade this pawn. And then enter the endgame, knight and bishop, checkmate. Can you know? Do you know how to checkmate it? Yeah, so
I technically know, but never had a choice to checkmate.
I know it by heart, of course. So,
close the eyes and make the moves.
Yeah. So okay, g5 is played. Now queen a7 has to be played. So this is not a shock move for Tanzhangi. She already expected that g5 will be played. Maybe she's slightly nervous that she managed to misplay this position. So you see the body language is a bit nervous.
Yeah, I agree with that. She's not having that great position as she had earlier. And there was a lot of choices. We don't say that she chose the worst one. Of course, it's not. It's still a very good position for her. But she could get the better out of this.
Okay.
She is taking...
Queen a7 is on the board.
Queen a7.
Now the question is what Goryachkina is going to do. This I do not know. You simply have to calculate. You do not guess, you calculate. And now we are commentators, we are not calculating, we are guessing. That's the difference.
Yeah.
The players are calculating, we are just guessing really. But what again?
It turns out to be good. It's like, oh yeah, I calculated this.
Because we are talking, we're watching what you have to say in the chat, we're discussing other ideas, so that's why we cannot calculate lines so deeply. But if we would be playing ourselves, of course, we will be also calculating it quite deeply. So there could be also this line. And I don't think I want to put the knight on a4 because this bishop would trap it.
Oh gosh, this is a horror for knight on a4.
Yeah, so let's not do that. And if the knight goes anywhere else, the a pawn starts rolling very fast and actually out of the range from the black king. So let's say knight e7, maybe Goryachkina would suspect that this is just losing. There's a good chance that this is losing. The bishop is going to be a stronger piece than the knight. It usually is in open positions. So after queen a7, I have a feeling that she's not going to take it. That she's going to give either the check on d1 or take here. And now after queen b6, for white it's a little bit more difficult to push forward the a pawn, but there's some other problems. The king is a bit weak, the pawn on f6 is under attack, and maybe Goryachkina feels this is a chance for her to stay in the game, and that's why she might be forgiven for her previous mistakes. So it's very, very important to find a very good move here.
At this point, Artur, out of curiosity, I checked what engine says here for black, and it's a bit weird, like after queen a7. There's a third move, totally not human being. This is queen to e6. Queen a7 here, and then queen to e6. So you guard the pawn on b6, and you want to take the knight on h4. And after this, White's suggestion is knight f5, which is ridiculous.
But why not knight g6? I don't follow.
Knight g6 is very interesting. After knight g6, you can go with knight d7.
Oh, come on. This is never going to happen. This is never going to happen because people don't think like this. Of course, I see it's engine's idea, right? Is it?
Yeah, obviously.
But how do you think like that? Because the knight is still there. And there's a great chance you're going to miss it. So queen e6, knight f5. No, I think that Goryachkina is not going to play queen e6. I think she's choosing between g takes and h4, which probably is bad, I suspect.
Yeah, this is the moment when you can find a move like this if you have, this is kind of a study position or some kind of solution. But during the game, who would say that this is the moment? Take your moment, find some fancy move here. So that's the difference, right?
Right. And actually, I saw there's some other suggestion. I'm not sure at which moment it is meant. G4 idea. I'm not sure here or at some point later. Maybe here after queen e6 there could be idea like not play knight f5, but play g4, secure the king, and then play. And then play this. This is insane.
Wow.
Come on. I don't believe it. I don't believe you can play like that. So.
But I'm not even sure if it's any good, like after knight d7 here.
Yes, it's a fair point. Yeah, knight d7, king f7, black is safe. Okay. So I expect g takes on h4, with white still having considerable winning chances, but the clock is reminding Goryachkina. Yeah, the clock is ticking, 40 minutes.
Eight more moves to be played. The moves that you have to choose here is not so easy. Trade the queens and go to the end game, or keep the queens on the board and have the exposed king. So those are two difficulties you have to choose between. And obviously there is no any other move. The last move, but is a bit weaker move here by the engine, is e3. To play such a move, I don't really know what happens after f takes c. She takes h4, queen b6, and knight e4 is the move you would like to play.
Oh, wow. Give up the pawn just like that, just to get the knight on e4, which might as well be simply losing. Again, I don't see this happening. So Goryachkina is seeking, again, some clarity. I think she's going to calculate that probably if she's going to trade queens on a7, this endgame probably is lost. I mean, you trust your gut instinct, you try to calculate, but I mean, you can go really as far as you can calculate. So she might realize she needs to keep the queens on the board, and that's why perhaps she's thinking about the perfect square for the queen. Maybe she's going to figure out this queen e6. If, she methodically crosses out all of the continuations.
Yeah, that's what I say. Like, if you know this is the moment you have to find some only move, you go for it. Like, if she evaluates in the end that the bishop versus knight is a losing, and bishop and the queen versus knight and the queen is losing, then she would try last resources. Although she has 12 minutes for that to be played, and queen e6 is still a very complex move.
Incredibly complex, and the same level of complexity as white finding this queen b2. which we discussed before, and even there it was not very obvious, so that's why bishop b8 and queen a7 did make more sense from Tanjanki's perspective. Yeah, so maybe Goryachkina is in her thought process somewhere here. G takes, queen b6, and how to protect this pawn. And also not blunder the knight. How to do this. Is there such a square even which keeps everything together?
How about e3 now, Arturs, as we have seen this idea already? So I'm sacrificing the knight. If you take my knight, I'll play queen d1 first and then d2.
Like this? No, you drop something, no?
No. I meant queen e1 if queen d1 if white takes the knight on c5, accepts the sacrifice of a piece.
How do you do that?
After e3.
Yeah? Oh, you mean take it?
Yeah.
Oh, but this is a check on e2, no?
Yeah, check on e2. So this is, I think it's fine here for black.
More than fine.
Yeah.
Black can even win this. Maybe there's perpetual. Doesn't matter. White is not going to check this.
Yeah, bishop is not at the right place. So instead of this, white has to take on e3, as we showed. And
94, yeah?
94, yeah.
But again, I mean, is this a draw? Do you even have drawing chances? Because I see no perpetual check ideas for you. What is it? I mean, queen d1, knight g3, it doesn't work. Knight f2, checkmate idea on h1? Are you sure it's going to work?
No, some chances.
Yeah, that's the point. That's the point. Also, Goryachkina doesn't know.
Yeah.
And that's why she's hesitating to go there. I don't care what engine is saying there. I don't think engine is even saying this is salvageable. So I think she simply doesn't see yet what is the strongest move. And that's why this queen e6, you said, once again, queen e6? You see knight g6, maybe she's somewhere here. You know, knight g6, knight e7, she's trying to figure out, can she enter here? But there's a good chance that knight f5, again, could be simply evading her radar, because after queen f5, queen b6.
She's going. She is taking the knight on h4. Okay.
That's what makes most sense from her. Queen e6 was very, very difficult move to find. So at the end of the day, I think she's going to sacrifice this pawn. Your find, very nice, Keti. Queen b6.
No, it's not my find. I cannot take this.
No?
I checked with the engine.
You checked an engine and you found it, so it's your find. Your find, really.
Okay, then. If you insist.
Right. So queen b6, e3. This is the best chance, I think. Just to get a very nice outpost on e4. Practical point of view. Goryachkina probably still suspects she's borderline losing this. There is no guarantee she's going to save this.
It's no guarantee, and she has to save the pawn on f6, right? Then there are not much moves for that. You can play knight e6 to do that, but then how about a4? You go for queen d1, queen a4, you lose the knight on e6. And I need just more like 3 moves to create very, very tense position, and 4 moves to promote to the queen.
This we simply assume it's winning for white. We simply assume because these double pawns make no impact of the game. Essentially, it's white having an extra pawn, which is just rolling forward. So I don't see Goryachkina going here. So I think e3. e3 is going to be played. e3, knight e4, and she's going to go for some tricks. But she must suspect she's losing here.
Yeah, if you play queen e7 here and guard both pawn on f6 and knight on c5, then bishop d6 is the kind of unpleasant and loses the knight on c5. And you're kind of running out from the moves. And if she's already there, I think bishop a7, can I do that?
Yeah, now I wanted to lure your bishop on a7 and give a check, which is just silly, of course, because I just take the pawn on f6.
This bishop guards f2.
Yeah, so again, not good. I think e3 is going to be a follow of Goryachkina. She's just trying to figure out what happens next. e3, f takes, knight e4, I guess a4. I don't see her saving this game, to be honest. Right now, I don't see. But maybe this queen e6, where was this? Here was the final chance. Incredibly difficult move. But
that's Yeah, that's not human being move.
For white, it's so easy. Push forward. No stress at all. Half an hour on the clock. For Goryachkina, the clock is ticking. Tick-tock, tick-tock. 7 minutes. She still needs to make, what is it? How many moves is it? I don't see. 7 moves?
Yeah, 7 moves before reaching 40 moves and increment on the clock. So, Arturs, I think the difference between first game and this last game is that Tanzhangi was pressing there too, but it was the advantage and not clearly winning. And now she has a winning position, winning advantage, and that's the difference.
That's how it feels. It feels winning. You know, I don't even want to say white has a large advantage. Maybe I'm overestimating because the position is material equality. But how do you stop these two very blatant threats? So that's why we felt this E3 94 after Keti found it with the help of engine. To activate the knight gives you some counter chances at the king side, but there's no guarantee it's a draw. So I think that Goryachkina simply is going to have to take a leap of faith. I think she's going to spend until something like 5-4 minutes on the clock and then just whatever, push it. You have to do something. You have to do something, right?
Yeah, indeed.
So let's again show the idea. Knight e6 protects the pawn on f6, but how do you stop a4? Queen a4, queen e6 drops the knight with a check. No, she's going to do another move. Let's check this.
What is it?
She wanted to touch the queen. Maybe queen d1 check. I'm not really sure. What does it give?
Queen d1. And knight d7, maybe?
Maybe queen d1 e3. I don't follow, to be honest. Knight e3, you take the pawn on f6, and this has got to be a win.
But after this move, Arturs, is not queen d1, king h2, and e3 drops the pawn on f6 and bishop e5. I think it's a checkmate.
I don't know. I don't know what she wants to do. I just saw she wanted to grab the queen. At least that's what it looked like. Maybe it was the e-pawn. I still expect the e3. But by the look, she was ready to grab the queen. Now, there's a mention that chat probably draw. No, I don't agree. I think Tanzhangi is very close to him. That's what it feels like. She does play knight e6. Wait.
Oof,
wait. What about a4 now? She has found something apparently we missed.
I don't believe in that. I don't believe in that she found something. How you're stopping a4 here?
Okay. So a4 should be pretty straightforward move. What's the idea? You need to get the king closer, right? I mean, otherwise you're going to miss some checks. The knight on e6 is hanging. What do you do? What do you do? So king f7, a5. How do you stop this pawn? Go for some perpetual check or something? Maybe put the queen on a4. Here, a6. It's such a straightforward plan for white.
Yeah.
Queen b7, a7. There's no
b7 and then promote. Maybe. Okay. Let's check this one, Arturs. Knight a6, a4.
A4, yeah.
Yeah. Queen d1 check, king h2. Knight d4.
Yeah, but I just take on f6.
Yes. You take knight f6, and I play knight to e2.
Oh, sneaky.
Yeah.
And wait. And okay, that's a win. Queen g6, king h8 is bishop e5, king f8 is bishop e6. Lights out. a4 is on the board. I don't know what she's planning. Maybe she's simply out of ideas. She has to do something. And she did play knight e6 to keep her position together. White's plan is incredibly straightforward. And also I think that for Tanzhangi, this signals that she also doesn't understand where exactly Black's defense is. So, okay, she shrugged her shoulders. Okay, let's just push forward, see what happens. Maybe f5, f4, some final trick. I mean, but it's so slow. f5 here, f4, a6, e3. So what? I take it. f3, maybe like this, you know, try to expose the king. But I have a feeling there should be more than one win, like queen d6. Dominate the queen. The knight on e6 is unprotected. You need king f7. I think this game's over.
I'm a bit shocked with 96.
But you can't blame her, right? Because
No. I don't blame her, of course, because myself, I would lose the game until getting this point, because like she was really defending quite well and finding the last resources. But the thing is that Alexandra Goryachkina is well known by complicating the positions, not letting it opponent to win that easy. And I'm surprised that she did not try e3. Just not to try.
Maybe she wanted to indeed to go for this trick. Knight e4, queen f6, knight e2 check, king h2, and now, yeah, she sees there's this check, which ends the game. And she has to do something. I mean, I think we actually are very close to see Tanzhanki winning this game and thus winning the pool B. That's what it looks like to me. Despite the fact there's a material equality on the board, it appears to be that black is winning. White is winning.
That's right. The question in the chat is where I can find the games of this tournament, guys. Just Google the name of the tournament, FIDE Women's Candidate 2022 Pool B. You will see the official website and you can see all the information, or go for chess.com, go to events, find the tournament. I believe it's also on Follow Chess or Chess Bomb or Chess24. Like basically this event is everywhere and you can buy just Googling the name, you can find it. But I kind of offer you a good deal to stay here and just see the updates with the commentary. But if you still want to see just the moves, Google it in internet. There are plenty of the platforms.
King f7, a5 should be blitzed out.
Right, after a5. Maybe now that's the moment she's looking to play queen d1. Let's see this Arturs once again. A5, queen d1.
Knight e4.
And knight f4. Now king is a bit out of this cage and can have more moves.
But I don't believe it. I'll tell you honestly, I don't believe this is calling. This is probably her last chance.
Yeah, queen b7 seems to be the move.
If I go in g8.
Queen d5 now.
Queen d5. I was thinking just take the pawn.
Oh, yeah, and go to, after knight to queen g6 and go to the same position, yeah.
Could be the same. Again, a bit tricky. You have to calculate. Okay, maybe what you said. Yeah. Queen f6, king g8, queen g6 is the same position essentially. Yeah, there you go. I trade queens. And after queen
d6 next move.
And if I go here, take, it's also a checkmate. No, it's winning. So this idea simply doesn't work. But I believe that she's going to have to do it because...
Arturs, you know what I really like about having this camera here? We can see for sure. What's the behavior of the players? What's their attitude when they play? And what I have noticed so far in this tournament, Tanzhanki likes to place these pieces in front of herself and between herself and the chess board. Look at this, just putting here. And I remember that was one of my favorite things when I was a kid, to put all these grabbed pieces to see that, oh, I took all of them and they are on my side already. And she's having these pieces.
Spoils of war, yeah? In front of you, you feel like you have accomplished something. I do believe that most of the players are putting them aside so that they are not intervening with you. And here you see in the live camera that yeah,
she's
indeed.
Doing this every day, every tournament she's doing like that. And for me, it's a very special moment because, as I said, I think one of the first days, me and Tanzhanki used to play the same youth tournaments, and we shared the more or less same years of this tournament, youth tournament, and we have seen each other quite a lot, and it kind of brings me back in the childhood memory, and something really nice to see that she's still doing this old behavior that she had earlier too.
Right. There's also queen a7. Our chat says, I didn't even spot that because I was so carried away with a-pawn push. Yeah, you can even trade queens and enter something very similar that Goryachkina.
However, Artur, this is, I think, The
That's
last
obvious.
choice of Tanjongi.
The last choice, exactly. It might be winning, might be not winning, right? And we were discussing this line in some earlier scenario, and there the black king could not make it in time to stop the A pawn. Here, I think black is in time. And that's why this is not going to be probably the choice of Tanjongi. But I think she's going to go with the continuation, whichever she thinks is the cleanest. A5 is really asking to be played. I think she's right now in this line. Once again, A5, Queen D1 check, King H2, I guess, Knight E4. And she's making sure this is a victory.
Yeah, this actually is interesting why she's taking so much time to play A5. Is there any trap that Black has prepared? So hard to think of.
Right.
You know what? After A5, engine suggests to play Knight D4 right away. Maybe this wins a bit of time, Artur.
What time?
So A6, Knight E2. If King goes on F1, this is a checkmate. Queen D1. King goes on H2, and now Queen to D1.
This is the same. Ah, wait. We did not.
Same.
It's not the same. I thought it's the same. It's not the same. Oh, wait. A5, Knight E4. But you know, Keti, I can always play Queen C7.
Yeah, that's the ugly reality that Black has to live in this position. They can always change the structure and the end game.
Yeah, I can always trade this if I feel threatened. So it's not only Black who is tricking white, it's also white. But yeah, I mean, here, definitely A5 is a very big decision. Queen A7, I don't think this is going to happen.
A5 has been played, I suppose.
Yes.
And let's see what Alexandra chooses here, Knight D4. And Artur, is that Queen C7, Queen A7 only move to play here? Maybe white can still win this position.
After Knight E4, she can play also King H2. And after Knight E2, now trade the queens. Maybe this is even cleaner.
Mm-hmm.
And then I guess you trade the queens, you run back with the knight, and then I just play either bishop b6 or for style points, bishop b8.
Style points are always bishop b8, a7.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
And this wins. So it looks like indeed Tanjongi is about to win this game and the entire match. And with that, the pool B. Goryachkina is seeking her final chances with his Queen D1, Knight E4, Knight E2. It's gotta be. Nothing else really makes sense the way she played it out. She probably realizes it's not working, but she's not trying to find the right ordered moves, which still her gives some chances. She's trying to find which order of the moves might give white an opportunity to make a mistake.
True. A5 on the board. 2 minutes and 30 seconds for Goryachkina to make next 5 moves, 6 moves, in fact, here in this position. Not too much time, not too much of the choices here. She has to try Knight D4, indeed, because I think not much of the choices are left here for her. E3 can be a move here.
Knight E4
is actually on the board.
All right, and now I do think that King H2 is a move. But perhaps after King H2, Black is not obliged to play Knight E2. Black can play Knight C6 as well.
Okay.
So it's either Queen C7 or King H2. Can we try to force matters here? Can we try to trade queens immediately, like this? Take and take.
Yeah, King to E6.
Yeah, but then I just run forward.
No, I can't do that.
Knight B5 and here, and that's it, I win the game. So after Queen C7, that's it? No? Wait.
Maybe King E6.
Wait, let's again check this. Takes, what do you do? So A6, A7, very simple plan. What do you do?
I don't know.
Knight C6, A6, this we
amazing.
had a look at, right? No, just winning.
Yeah.
And after Queen C7, let's say King E6. I was thinking A6. A6. Knight E2 check. Queen goes here and just give up the queen. Wins.
Beautiful. Wow, that's beautiful, Queen D6.
Yeah, so the cleanest, I guess. She's got to see that. I mean, is there something wrong with this? I don't see what's wrong with this.
Not
King
really.
H2 is also a move, but Queen C7 looks to be quite straightforward.
It is because basically knight is close to the pawn, but there is no way to stop by the knight. Only black needs to bring the king into the action, and then that doesn't stop you to push the pawn a6 and even to give up the queen. So, and Tan Zhongyi has 25 minutes to figure it out, all these moves.
Queen D6 is also a move. No, she is going to win this, definitely. Queen D6 is also definitely a move, but Queen C7 just forces the queen trade. Queen D6 does not force anything. So maybe that's the difference. So once again, Queen C7. Let's say trade. Let's say Knight B5. I just go here. The king is not in time to stop the pawn. King E6. I'm not going to take it now because now the king is going to be in the square. I play A6. Okay, maybe some knight C6. No, I just take an A7. No. And this is simply winning. Now, this game is going to finish very quickly. I'm pretty sure. Queen C7 just seals the deal.
Yeah, maybe we're going to see for the first time the game
Maybe
ended
this.
in 40 moves.
Maybe this is smart. Avoid the
What's the
queen.
difference if I push a6?
Now, there's this knight e2 check, and I can't immediately trade queens. Wait. Wait. Look at that.
We have to give a check queen to c6, let's say.
How do you trade queens? Oh, wait, it's an idea.
Oh, hold on. I can go with queen to b7.
I'm not going to go king g6 to give up the pawn on e4.
Queen to c8 now. But this is unnecessary, right?
Yeah, but what
queen
are you getting?
g4?
You want to get the king. Okay. But this is not looking very obvious, is it? I mean, king
No,
f7. No, this is not obvious. So maybe this is actually a mistake that she can still make it. So once again, okay, perhaps king e8 is still keeping black alive. Although it's very close to lose.
H2.
Now king h2. But then I can even take it and play king d7. And I'm very close to the a-pawn.
Okay, yeah.
Which of course is very close to winning. But perhaps that's why she needs to play queen d6. To stop this knight e2 check.
Yeah, and after take, king e6 just to push the pawn.
Yeah, just push
E6.
forward that pawn, yeah.
Knight
King
b5,
is-
bishop b8.
Yeah. Okay, bishop c5, of course, also was winning, but I just love bishop e8. Okay, so you see, we even managed to make a mistake. And if I go here... Haha, and then you play queen c7, look at that.
Love it. You're
Final
forcing me
trick.
that way.
The final trick here is still possible. So, final obstacle for Tan Zhongyi, she needs to be accurate. So in case you think that perhaps things are over, Tan Zhongyi is winning, tell that to the football teams of Brazil and Argentina yesterday. We're very close to win their matches. I mean, one of them did it once, but what happened?
Yeah,
Everybody
with
saw.
penalties.
Yes, everybody saw. So the game is over when it's over. And don't rush with the choices. And that's why Tan Zhongyi here wants to make sure she's making the right decision. There's still a way to misplay. I've seen stranger things happen. Queen c7, king e8, very nice find by one of the viewers in the chat. So I think it's queen d6. But then again, after queen d6, there's queen a4. Wait, there's queen a4. Look at that. It's still not over. So queen d6, queen a4. Although...
Oh, nice. Like you want, if you play a6 now and you ignore black's ideas, is there a queen d1 right away?
Yeah, but my queen is protected. I see your idea.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you wanted to trick me. But I was thinking actually Keti knight to check. And then after king h2 play this move.
Oh, nice. That's nice. And you're going to g1 square from a1. Yeah, that's nice.
But this still could be winning. Like, I give a check and you collect a knight. But you can miss this easily, right? I mean, you start to get nervous. You start to see ghosts. And, yeah, this just wins the knight on d7, I guess. Once again, what was this very precise line? Queen d6, queen a4, a6.
And 92 here.
But Black can even afford to spend another tempo here, Keti. Like, king g6. And then after a7, play knight e2 check, king goes here, and queen a1. Imagine this.
Yeah, can happen. Can happen. You never know.
It definitely can happen. It's not going to happen because Dungeon Key is not in time trouble. Chat says 8.4 plus. Yes, yes, definitely. Dungeon Key is winning, but it's not as trivial as the engine says. You still can make a mistake. I saw somebody said queen b2 here.
Queen b2 is a bit like too much. Okay, actually you are avoiding knight e2 idea. And you want to play queen a2 and then press a pawn a6, a7 in that way.
I mean, it can be fun, by the way. Why not? For example, queen b2, you control the critical squares. And now after queen a4, you just push a6.
Yeah.
Still tricks. Still tricks.
So interesting, Artur. I just checked if it's really +8 or not. And the +8 is at this point, queen to c7.
Okay.
And the moment you play queen to c7, it drops to 2.
Right.
Which it already says that, yeah, it's not so easy. So easy. Still winning, probably, but not so easy.
Yeah. So this is definitely not the way I think Tanjiki wants to go. I think she got a bit excited like I did. Sawing queen c7, okay, I'm winning the game on the spot. And now I think she sees this queen e8, king e8. Otherwise, she would have already played queen c7. She's trying to figure out what she's going to do against this final trick of Goryachkina. Goryachkina is shooting her final tricks to stay alive in this candidates tournament. But Tanjiki should avoid it.
You can get definitely distracted by a lot of thoughts, especially when you're winning the whole game and you don't have whatsoever to worry about. You're starting to think like, okay, how to spend the day after, what do you have for the dinner, how to spend the money I'm going to win. And these kind of unnecessary thoughts are just going there because you feel a little bit relaxed. I don't know how relaxed she feels right now because she sees this threat and this is the last moment that she should use it. But that's common thing, or some players are saying that they are singing some song in the mind, and that's also another way to distract yourself from the position. Actually, Artur, the winning idea is here. What engine suggests queen b2 or queen c7, king e8 and queen c4. All of these ideas is against knight to e2.
Yeah, but I don't follow what engine is saying after king e8. She does play queen c7, so alright. Still a chance for Goryachkina. What happens after king e8?
And queen c4 here. Queen c4 to avoid 92.
Oh.
And then on the other hand, you want to play queen g8.
All right, king e8 is played. Now, there is still a chance to miss a6. I don't think she's going to do it because this is the only counterplay for black. Did she see king e8?
Yeah, she played already king e8.
No, the question, did Tanjiki see king e8? I mean, she should have. She should have seen this move because king e6 was just losing immediately. Now the question is what she has prepared against king e8.
Yeah, a6 is a blunder and black can just make a draw after 92 queen d1. And it seems like white cannot coordinate with the pieces well. So that's the one blunder here she can do, and she's going to play. What is that?
Maybe queen c4. I don't like what she did. Okay,
yeah,
queen c4 is played. So she saw king e8. She is still controlling this game. Now I guess the idea is to give at some point queen g8 check, which doesn't hurt. But the king is now closer to the a pawn. Now that's a tactical win. Yeah, I think we can assume it's a technical win. So she didn't find anything faster like queen b2, like queen d6, which felt very good. But she's happy with this because the only trick for black with knight e2 check now is gone. The bishop controls the long diagonal. There's no perpetual check ideas, no nothing. And a pawn is still going to roll forward.
And knight is pinned on the pawn on e4. Like if you move the knight, I will just take with a check. Knight, queen to b7 has been played. The idea of this move is that if you take my knight on d4, I give you a check on b1, and I will take the bishop with a check, which is a questionable. If it's
you can miss this check actually. No, you can actually miss this check, and now you have to play g3 h takes, and black is still sort of alive, sort of. Although,
yeah, let's say it's still alive. You can just take and play queen to b7, and
wait. There's a lot of checks. Oh wait, there's no check.
There's no check. Yeah, so far there's no check there, but there can be like queen b1, queen c2 kind of ideas. So that means after queen b7. What has to be? Oh, queen g8 check.
What about it?
I don't know.
Queen g8, king d7.
I thought I was winning a queen. Queen f7, king goes where?
But this is actually nice. Checkmate on the board.
Yeah, checkmate on the board. If king goes on c6, I can take the pawn on f6 with a check.
I think this could happen. Yeah, now you take this pawn. These two pawns are hanging.
Next, I will take the knight on d4 because you basically have no square to go with the king.
Why not? Why not king d5?
King e5. That's...
But what can I do? I mean, I'm losing anyway. So what can I do?
Queen d6, I suppose.
Queen d6, king c4. Yeah, so we could enter something like this. I'm going to take these two pawns. I'm going to give you up these two pawns, and then white is simply going to win 3 pawns against 1 at the king side. Okay, the game is continuing for a while. It's not going to be decided in a couple of moves.
Okay. It's actually, no. After queen g8, king d7, queen f7, king c6, and queen c4 wins the game on a spot because you're dropping the knight with a check.
Which move? Queen
g8, which has played, king d7, queen f7.
Yes, king c6.
King c6 and queen c4.
Oh, so we are seeing the final moves. Indeed, we are seeing the final moves of this candidates match. Tan Zhongyi is winning the game. Very nice find. Queen f7 check. I think this is going to be a resignation right here. Maybe the final move, king c6, queen c4 check. Tan Zhongyi, no, she has done it. She has beat the ELO favorite, Alexander Goryachkina here. Final moves are being played. Queen c4. I expect resignation on the board.
That's right. There's no chance to fight anymore. And Alexandra stops the clock, resigns, and handshakes. They all sign the scores, and this win brings Tan Zhongyi a ticket to the finals of the candidate tournament, where she's gonna face her teammate Lei Tingzhi. They have played for many world team competitions, Olympiads together, side to side, and now they will face each other for the challenger's title, and the challenger will face the current world women champion Ju Wen-jun in the finals of the World Championship match. What a great play from Tan Zhongyi.
Right, absolutely incredible game by the Chinese Grandmaster, but also the fans of Alexandra don't despair, right? She did manage to find the fighting chance in this game after blundering. I think she made 2 blunders actually in a row after the opening. She was still fighting, but then at the critical choice, I guess the position was so bad, she did not find the best defense and the position very quickly collapsed. So, I mean, it's going to be FIDE Women Candidates Tournament final between 2 Chinese Grandmasters. Tan Zhongyi is going to meet the winner of Pool A, Lei Tingzhi, and then the winner is going to meet in a match the reigning world champion Yu Wen-jun.
That's right. The prize fund for the finals is really big, 120,000 euros, if I'm not mistaken. If I'm mistaken, I don't think you guys would mind, but the winner gonna get 70,000 euros, and also the ticket to the finals of the World Championship match, where the prize fund even is bigger. But the most important is that they're gonna have a chance to fight for the title. Tan Zhongyi, if she wins, once again, she can try to win the match against Ju Wen-jun and get the crown back. If Lei Tingzhi wins, that is gonna be her first time chance to try her best at the World Championship match. So that was incredible tournament, and we had very interesting players, 4 players at the beginning. Alexandra Goryachkina, Alexandra Kostynik, former World Women Champion, Katarina Lachno, many times world champion in rapid and blitz competition, and we had Tanzhongyi, former women world champion. Quite a titled players here we had during these 2 weeks, Arturs, and then we have beautiful play from Tanzhongyi. And I think despite the fact that Alexandra had really nice tournament starting from the very beginning, Tanzhongyi truly deserved this title, as last 4 games, what we have seen, she was dominating pretty much, and seems like Goryachkina just ran out from her energy, and last game was decisive. So no tie breaks for us and our viewers, unfortunately. I really wanted to see that. But anyways, this was a beautiful game indeed, and it fully compensates that we don't have tie breaks.
Right, and talking about the final match of the candidates, it's not going to continue tomorrow or the next week. We still don't know when the match of Tanzhongyi against the winner of Pool A, Lei Tingji, will happen. Our assumption is sometime early next year. I would guess in China. I mean, it makes sense, right? Since both players are from China, but we don't really know that yet. So please stay tuned, follow the news of FIDE, wait for it to happen. And I would like to again say a couple of final words. Once again, it was a really great pleasure to work here with you, Keti, for the last 2 weeks. And I also wanted to see the tie breaks, but also I would like to make special thank you to our 2 helpers, so to speak, right? We have Dmitry, our broadcast director. We have Nina, who is a producer from FIDE, right? And they're silently working in the background. And there's some other technicians that you are not seeing to make this broadcast possible. So I really hope you enjoyed it. And also FIDE did absolute best to make it as exciting as possible. And this means probably more good stuff is following soon.
Yeah, that's right, guys. Make sure that you follow YouTube and Twitch channel, and that's just a small step to help to promote women's in chess, which is starting to be progress. And with the help of the new sponsors and old sponsors, we have this opportunity to have these joyful matches at very good conditions for the players indeed. And earlier we had these thoughts that we have more sponsors, more prize fund, more fun can happen, and that's more exciting for the viewers too. So thanks very much, everyone. It was really awesome to be here. Our chat was our 3rd commentator, which was helping big times and giving us really nice suggestions. So it is our final goodbye at this tournament. We're gonna see each other surely at some event. We don't know when, but probably we're going to do that soon for the next FIDE event. So guys, big thank you to all of you for being here with all these days and being so active and helpful and supportive. And Artur, big thanks to you to be so cool co-host and give us all these very interesting ideas and to have so much energy that I think our commentary, our energy level never went down because of you. So big thanks for that. And hopefully we're going to work once again together at one of the best events of FIDE. So yeah, that's it, guys.
See you in the next broadcast.
Yeah.
Take care. Have a great weekend and watch the next broadcast from FIDE. I'm saying goodbye. Thank you, Keti.
Bye.